Hello, gamers and non-gamers. Welcome back to the Noclip Crewcast. It's episode 257. We've done so many of these podcasts, and this is another one where Danny is unavailable. As I said last week, if you missed that one for some reason, go back and listen to it. It's a great episode, but if you want to stick here with us, Danny is unavailable as he's dealing with family stuff back home for who knows how long. Hopefully, he's doing all right, though. We haven't, he's busy, so we just, again, in our thoughts, send him love. Hopefully he's doing all right, but you know who is doing okay? I hope I didn't just set up a terrible story here. Jeremy Jane, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. A lot of good games to talk about this week, and yeah, I don't know. It's winter. It's gaming season, man. It's like,
that's right.
When the weather is nice outside, I feel bad gaming. When it's 8 degrees outside, it's like, what? I'm supposed to game. That's what God wanted.
Meetups get canceled, and you're like, finally, I can play that video game I've been holding off on playing for weeks. I finally have the time to dedicate to it. Frank Howley, what's your favorite Christmas season video game? What do you go to?
I don't know. I generally, usually around over the winter, I'll usually find like a Dynasty Warriors type game, something that I can just like binge audiobooks while playing, something very like mindless and like
nice. So
like a few years ago, it was like One Piece Warriors. I don't know what Warriors adjacent game it is this year. DK Bonanza is kind of the closest thing to that because you're just smashing the X, anything that you can mash the X button. But yeah, it's always some kind of like mindless grinding game because like you feel like you have the space and time to allow yourself to like really get deep in a game, even if it's not that like, I don't know, nutritious.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's all about. The holiday season's all about cramming your gob full of just sugary, sweet goodness. And that's, I think, the best part of anything relating to the holidays is like, you can just, like you guys have been saying, you can just take it easy. There's no responsibilities unless you have responsibilities. Getting ready to have a child means I have to prepare for like traditions, and we need to think about what we're going to do in the future every year and stuff like that. And that has been an interesting switch because Christmas for me for the longest time has been you get socks, you get underwear, you get one cool gift, and then everyone leaves you alone for a couple of weeks. But now I got to make the turkey. It's a different situation. You guys ever made turkey before? Like have to do the turkey on your own?
No, I've roasted a Cornish game hen, a guinea fowl, a chicken, never a turkey.
What are you going to do now? You can't do vegan turkey. What would that be?
No, they have like
vegetarian turkey.
I've never had it, but I ate a little turkey this year. It was the first meat I've eaten in like 7 years.
Okay.
But I was visiting my folks.
Wait, was this before or after the Italian sub?
This was after the Italian sub.
So you've had it twice this year. I'm calling the vegan police.
No, the Italian sub was vegetarian.
Oh, okay. Didn't you say you had one? Oh, no. That's the one thing you've wanted since
That's what I've
you
wanted
stopped
for
eating
7
meat.
years. Yeah, I've been craving it
for
7 years. No, I don't know. I just like my mother was like, I worked on this turkey and I was like, I don't know. I'll just take a bite. I was afraid it would make me sick though. That was the why I was holding back.
Yeah, you don't have the microbiome set up to break down the turkey's germs.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's like 7 years of vegetarianism versus like a million years of hominid enzyme development. I didn't know which would win out.
Yeah, very different. You know who my favorite hominid enzymes are?
Our Battle Pass holders.
Battle Pass holders. That's right. Our Battle Pass holders over at patreon.com/noclip. They keep our gut clear and ready to to produce matter, fecal or otherwise, but they're not fecal.
Hey, don't talk about our videos like that, bro.
I'm sorry.
That's not
come
cool.
on. Noclip 2, the home of fecal matter. Check it out. Yeah, our great Battle Pass holders who support all the work we do and other things. All the work we do, including Lil Toast. I'm sorry, that was terrible. I said I'm going to be a dad. I gotta get the bad jokes ready. Lil Toast, Corey, Lovepreet. Yeah, I'm sorry, by the way, if you've been added to the list of Battle Pass holders and we are not saying your name, it's because we've all been locked out of the we don't have access to the Noclip Patreon account, so we can't see the list. Danny's busy. So again, apologies. We as soon as we get access, we'll tally up every week that we missed and say your name that many times in a row. I bet that won't bother you. Anyway, the list as it stands: Lil Toast, Corey, Lovepreet, Yut, Tiny Tal, Dwayne the Rock Lobster, Anthony Thomas, Nico Passeteri, It's me, Ferrario, Senator Armstrong, Nanomachines or whatever, right? Redredge, Harry Flanagan, Juice, Arno, Matt Pearson, James Brown. Wow. What do we got? Where I lost it. Mark Rojas, Quote, Tucker Morgan, David McGarry, Goddison, Sven Hooster, Pez, John Akers, Int Nate, Tim Robinson. Think you should leave. Forrest Pruitt, Dark Insanities, Jonathan Creeman. It's Kremen, but I think Creeman's funnier. Eric Hamilton Schneider, like the lunch meat. Christoph Fatui, like the salad. There's not a Fatui salad. Enox, I got nothing. Grizzly Mug, Cameron Ladd, Zachary Snader, Alex Goucher, George Circotis, Jacob Godserve, bless up, Enthea Jen, James Med, Tohir Tiliev, and Ryson. Thank you all so much for your support, for throwing money our way, being awesome. This week's pod, we got a lot of stuff, a lot of indie games to cover. This has been a hot week. There's stuff that we're not even going to cover because we didn't get codes for it and didn't bother to ask. But there is still a lot of cool stuff that we did get the chance to check out, at least a little bit of. Angeline Era, Skate Story, we're going to be talking about. That cool skating game where you're made of glass. Or we're not going to be talking about that, actually. Maybe a little bit. We'll see. Frank?
Oh, I just didn't have time to play anything.
That's okay.
Yeah, but
I will mention it briefly. I will talk about it in brief. We did play a demo version of it. I checked a little bit out on PlayStation myself, so I'll just talk about some of it. Well, I'll give you like a brief 5 minutes if you don't know what it is. Maybe at the end of the pod. And yeah, Routine, that sci-fi horror game that took like 13 years to finish. Well, not really. The story of it, it's pretty interesting. I'll leave a link to the article about it, an interview with the devs about what happened along the way of the development of that game in the description. But yeah, we're going to talk about a bunch of cool stuff. Is there anything anyone's dying to talk about first? Because I feel like all of these games are pretty cool. Jeremy, you want to hop into Angeline Era first? Or?
Angeline Era, I feel like deserves to be first.
Totally.
Yeah, Angeline Era is out. It came out yesterday as of time of recording, but I have had access to it for like a week. It's fucking awesome. It's so good. So Angeline Era, this is a game from Analgesic Productions. This is Melis Hantani and Marina Kataka. So Analgesic we've talked about Anodyne 1 and 2 on this podcast. Cephone was also them. Those are the only ones I've played. There's a couple other games they've done. But Angeline Era is their new one. It is, I feel like I have loved all of their games, and they have all had a very sort of interesting melding of like, oh, it's like an art game. Oh, but there's like a strong gameplay focus. I feel like this one, the gameplay focus, like the art focus is no less strong, but it feels to me like maybe the gameplay focus is deeper, or maybe it's just like hitting more of like more catered to my taste in gameplay or something. But this is like an art game that plays like Ys or like Link to the Past or something. To me, this feels like, so they refer to it as a bump slash action game. So this is a top-down action RPG where instead of pressing a button to swing the sword, you kind of just you bump into creatures and it swings your sword automatically if you hit them at the right angle. So if they hit you from behind, they attack you. If you hit them from the front, barring certain conditions, like if it's like an enemy that has like a charge or something, they can override your bump slash. But otherwise, your sword just kind of swings automatically. And so this is really interesting because it frees you up to basically think mostly about sort of like positioning and pacing and timing, and less about like the Dark Souls swing animation. Like you're not thinking about when do I hit R1 or whatever. So this is a really interesting game. I feel like, to me, it feels like a game that when the N64 came out, I feel like a lot of developers who were going from like, Super Nintendo to N64, there was sort of this transition where they're like look at Link to the Past to Ocarina of Time. It was like, oh, we got 3D. Let's do like full 3D, like rotational camera. Let's just like do the fucking thing as hard as possible.
Spend 30 seconds every time you want to open a chest. We're going to spin the camera around. Yeah.
And there's like a little bit of that, like, they lean into the 3D-ness of it as well. But I feel like because it's 2025 and it's not like, oh, 3D is like novel and whatever. I feel like this feels to me like an alternate universe N64 game in a weird way, where it's like it has the sort of the perspective changes. There's like an overworld and there's like levels or whatever, but in the inside of the levels, the perspective is largely more like a Link to the Past with 3D sort of graphics, and that's a really interesting thing to me because it doesn't arbitrarily feel the need to like change up the entire formula of action RPGs from that era. So to me, it feels gameplay wise more like a Super Nintendo ARPG, I've never played the East games, which I gather are sort of an inspiration on this, but like action RPGs of that sort of era. But yeah, I don't even know where to begin with this game. It's so good. Jesse, how much have you played of Angeline Era?
Yeah, I played the first 2 hours or so over the last couple of days. Like I've been very busy, but I finished up Routine, which I'll talk more about. But yeah, Angeline Era, the bit of it that I've played is so, I think they do this thing, analgesic or analgesic. Analgesic always feels wrong to say. I say that and I'm always like,
I think it's analgesic. Not
Doesn't
like
sound
anal.
better. Yeah. It's
like
like
the
Uranus.
annals of history.
Uranus. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, anal, whatever. Their games, I love their games. Anodyne 1 and 2 for me were very impactful for a lot of reasons. I think like the worlds and the way that they're designed, the NPC conversation and like the way the dialogue is written, it's very flowery, but not like overly self-serious. It's like there's times where they really apply this level of like the writing and the way that they're designing their world is structured in such a way that they need to get that across to you in the way that they write. And then there's other moments where they give themselves this opportunity to just be funny with it. Like they've sold the world to you and now they know how to tell a joke in that space. And it's not going to be off-putting because like it's funny. Or sometimes there's things that like aren't funny, but they are if you view them from the lens of the world. Like Angeline Era opens pretty strongly of like, this is the setting. You are a bump slashing character. There's angels. You're helping them or not. Like they're just a thing in the world. There are fae. There's like so much mythology going on here. They do this great setup. You go to the first town in the game, which like everything is broken up into this overworld area. And then these dungeons sort of spaces, which is pretty similar to Anodyne. Like you go into those 2D areas, but here it's more of the same perspective and visual style, but it's that combat bump slash that Jeremy was talking about. And then in the towns, which are structured in the same way, but like there's no combat, you're really just walking around talking to characters, which I think is funny that you're still bump slashing to have the conversations.
I was so afraid to bump into anyone in the first town.
Yeah, because you think, and it's funny in the overworld or like in the combat areas, because you see enemies or things that you so far have thought are enemies, and you bump into them, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on, man? Here's the tutorial." You're like, "Oh, okay."
Sometimes they're right next to. Sometimes there will be enemies that are conversation NPCs, but they're right next to enemies that look identical that are like kill them NPCs. So you'll be like bumping your way through a crowd of bugs, and then one of them will be like, "Did you know that like God is always?" And you're just like, "Jesus Christ!"
It's so funny.
I thought you were just like a fucking goblin.
God's light has shone away from us. He does not care anymore. And you're like, but you're a beetle. Like,
yeah, the mythological stuff is really interesting. Yeah. So you alluded to the story. It's basically like this setup where an angel calls like a chosen hero to this land that is sort of beset by like weird sort of happenings. There's a lot of sort of like weird little vignettes that are rooted in this dichotomy between sort of like more Christian mythology, like Angeline Era refers to the angels. There are just like angels in the world. There's just like angels are just like in this world, like normal kind of like people. I mean, not like normal people, but they're just like hanging out. And then there's contrasting that is sort of this more like folk mythology angle. Like their second game this year with like evil / mischievous fae, like fairies and weird creatures.
Of Irish mythology, slapped into here as well.
So there is sort of this interesting like world torn between these two sort of mythological framings, but literalized, like there's like actual angels and actual monsters and stuff. And yeah, you're going around collecting basically these like mystical artifacts called bicones, which are
that's what it was.
2 cones back to back. They're kind of like, they're your standard sort of like RPG, like Triforce pieces, you know what I mean? Or like medallions.
A little shape with some like flashy colors coming off of it.
Yeah, with a cool like transparency shader that's shiny on it. You've played a game before. And you're kind of just like going around collecting these things to like help set things right in the world because of like an angelic prophecy. Which is like I feel like it gets going really fast. Like the start is so bombastic and it has this incredibly beautiful cinematic, but you're kind of just like in the world in the game in 7 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's very quick to get you started. Like you're pretty sure once you launch it, you're just immediately doing combat, right? There's no big narrative. There's a little bit of conversation, but it's like a minute.
Yeah,
And
and,
then
then
you
there's
start
a cutscene
fighting.
after the sort of like first boss fight.
Exactly, yeah. And then it does the big sort of narrative reveal of here's the setup, go kill the 7 beings, collect the Triforce, save the princess, all that sort of stuff. Not literally. Yeah, I think the setup for the world is very interesting. They've sort of touched on religious themes in their previous games, like Anodyne 2. They get to a lot of that, like the concept of religion and what that means for characters. I think they sort of allude to more specific concepts in Christianity or Catholicism in that game, but this is very explicit to the point that you're like reading Martin Luther's, what's the name of the book that you read? The Sins of the First World, The Cause of Its Destruction by Martin Luther. Like part of that text is included in the game, and there's a conversation you can have with a librarian in the first town where he dissects the concepts of Martin Luther's criticism of the church. And like, I'm playing a video game where I bump into like caterpillars and make them explode. This is what I love about the way they make games. Analgesic, I'm going to say it that way. It makes the most sense in my brain. Productions, the way that they make games, they do not shy away from the fact that they're making video games. I never feel like they are embarrassed or they are like trying to, oh no, but we don't do that. We do it differently. We care about art this way. Like, no, they think that the way that they make games, at least from what I've read in interviews and the way that I've experienced the work they've done so far, is like, these are games that are about the story that they're telling in the world they're creating, but they're presented in this way that's like, the settings menu has an option to skip the dialogue. Like they understand that these are games for people who sometimes just want lights to flicker on the screen and distract them for a couple of hours, as much as they may also be something worth dissecting and being interesting. Cause like they make it almost in this way where if you don't care about that, if you just want to play a game where you're running around an environment, killing little enemies in like a 2D pixel art little environment outside, like inside of a character's brain in Anodyne, like that's there for you. You can play that kind of game. Sephony, if you just want to run around and do the like Tony Hawk grind along the world gameplay that game has, you can do that. But if you get into that and like somebody speaks to you in the right way, there's a line of dialogue that makes you go, oh, what is this world about? They have the stuff there to give you the opportunity to really get invested in the narrative. I think that is just, to me, it's the thing that I'm always drawn to with their games is like, there's always more there. And if you're tired of it, it's still fun to play the game. Like the game is still really good. I love moving around in all of their worlds.
Analgesic always makes me think, their games always make me think of, there's a Martin Scorsese quote that I'll paraphrase where he was talking about making movies about serious themes. And he said, if you want to make a movie that is about like real and serious themes and you want to explore them in a real and serious and sincere way, then you put it in a genre movie. Because if you want to make a movie about God, you don't just like make a movie about God. You make a movie about like, it's like a gangster film. It's like a Western. It's like some flavor that is understandable to people who are not like, weird cinephiles like Martin Scorsese. But then you sort of like give them this thing, and then contained inside it Trojan horses these deeper themes in it. And analgesic games, to me, they make games that are so gamey that even if you weren't into art games, you could I could hand this to someone who just, like had a Super Nintendo growing up, but doesn't really like my brother, someone who's like plays games, but more just kind of like big AAA titles that come out. And he would play this and recognize this as like, oh yeah, this is like a cool action RPG. And it doesn't mean that like you would miss out on those themes. It means that like you could have sort of like an experience that is more just about playing the game and then sort of be exposed to these more like philosophical and deep and sincere discussions. And I think that's really interesting because I think that like a lot of people, maybe I don't know, maybe this is an assumption or whatever, but I feel like the way that sometimes it's like a mode of thinking that I find myself slipping into where I'm like, there are like games like Balatro, and then there are like art games where you just like walk around and there's no gameplay. You're just like reading the letters that your sister left you in the house, or you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like Analgesic does this really beautiful merging of the two, where it's like I'm playing like a fucking, a game ass game, and then it'll be like a conversation about God just like happens. And for some reason it makes it more effective because it's not like I'm not in the mode always of like, oh, I'm gonna like experience some fucking profound shit, and then like a caterpillar tells you about angels, and you're like, oh shit, all right.
Like, damn, dude, I was just here to walk around this environment. Yeah.
I was about to swing my sword at you.
I was just gonna beat your ass. Mind. I just got a gun. Watch out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a gun in
there's
this
a gun,
game, and it only shoots up.
Which, I mean, sure, right. Makes
I love
perfect sense
constraints.
with the perspective, but it's very funny because they said up and I was like directly like in the Z direction,
Well,
but it just means like forward.
They're
Up. Oh, there's another gun?
No. I was gonna say they do play with perspective sometimes in this
yes.
game, and it's very funny how the gun reacts. I won't say anything more than that. But
Okay.
yeah.
I can't wait to see that. Yeah, I think for me, the thing that I'm really enjoying maybe more than their previous games, because like I said, I love their previous games. This one I think captures something that those earlier ones were successful at doing, but I didn't feel like they built around it enough, which is like the joy of discovery in those earlier games. Like Anodyne 2, finding an NPC that you can interact with and going into their brain and seeing what the environment looks like and interacting with the puzzles and you know, doing the sort of straightforward combat was fun, but I didn't feel like I got anything out of the exploration other than that. Here in Angeline Era, I think they have really done a good job of like giving you the tools to discover on your own, because the way that you reveal dungeons is there's this search mechanic that you have, and you have to sort of do like, what would you say, Breath of the Wild, Korok Seed, visual discernment puzzles of like, there's a pattern. If you stand in the center of the pattern, hold the Y button, and then you'll reveal the dungeon, and you can go do the dungeon. And there's like a little mini game to get into it, which is fairly straightforward. But even that has bits to it where it's like, you have to learn the rules of how that works. And sometimes it's revealed through experimentation. But you can also, there's characters who will say something and like, it'll be a riddle. Like, hey, you'll run into an enemy, like this is a fake thing, but like a mushroom. I don't know if it's a fake thing. I haven't gotten that far. Like a mushroom. And like, if you hit it, it poisons you and you die faster as you go through this mini game tunnel, basically. But maybe you'll talk to a character who's like, oh, mushrooms, if I walk away from them, they tend to disappear, which doesn't make any sense. But then you're like, oh yeah, remember that thing I couldn't get past? What if that's the way to do it? Stuff like that. So much around the world where it's like these little opportunities to discover the things that I found so great about their previous games. There are like I think it's extrinsic in this case, motivators for you to go do it. It's not just a personal thing. It's like the game is saying, hey, there's this thing over here you can go see. You go see it and you discover what I think is some of the best writing in games, in my opinion. It's like the stuff that they were doing in Anodyne 1 and 2. Now there's a more explicit reason to go find it than just your own curiosity or whatever. Like you might get a reward for it. You might get an item or an upgrade or a level up, which you do in your dreams, by the way, which is crazy. One of the characters, by the way.
So every time you mention another thing from this game, I'm like, oh yeah, there's like,
that's a weird thing. That's not a normal thing that most video games do. The last thing I want to mention, and this is like, for me, the games like Anodyne 1, there's an NPC dialogue that happens in that game where I think it's just a nothing character, but like you talk to them and they tell you that chewing ice is bad for your teeth because it causes chips. And for whatever reason, I found that like, I think the whole conversation was like either very profound or made me realize I should stop chewing ice. Either way, it was important to me. And that's the kind of level of writing that I don't necessarily expect from most games, is like the willingness to stop and say something that's like oddly profound and willing to be weird in the world that it's in, but still grounded, like still finding a way to communicate something real about the world while taking place in this space that makes no sense. And there's a dialogue that happens in the town. Jeremy, I don't know if you ran into this. It's like off to the side, there's two angels having a conversation. One's looking at the door frame, and there's etches in the door frame of these, like, of the height markers for children as they're growing up, right? And the other angel goes into a long conversation about how there's a theory that you could crunch the entire encyclopedia onto a stick if you like did a compression algorithm to turn every letter into a number and then use the distance between like measurements to figure that out. And in that, like that little, those two interactions right next to each other, for whatever reason, I found to be deeply profound, especially in between, again, shooting and blowing up a little green guy with a chestnut face, and then also going and reading about God and how religion impacts people's lives. Like that is the level they're operating on. And just in this early section, it's already clear that they're doing a lot of that stuff. Jeremy, you done the game? Have you finished it at all? Or
no, I've not.
Okay.
If it was not Game of the Year season and a bunch of other games weren't coming out, I would have played nothing but this for the last week. But I've been bouncing between this and other stuff. I'm probably like a third of the way through it, I gather. It's hard to say. I saw Melos posting about how sort of the faster playtesters got through it in like 15, 17 hours, and most people were like 20, 25, something like that. So I'm probably like a third of the way through it. I'm being pretty thorough, but I'm really enjoying it. I think it's really good. And I think what you're saying about the writing and the sincerity and profundity of it is kind of like the special sauce here. I think if it did not have the sort of like profound philosophical angle and sincerity and authenticity and stuff, I think it would just be like one of the best games of the year still. Like, I think it's just incredibly fun to play. But I think that it like pushes it that extra layer forward where it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm being like assaulted by weird, sincere writing, and it's this like, I don't know how to describe this. This is going to be a really poor description, but I feel like some people might understand what I'm saying. It's this weird paradox where I feel like analgesics games capture the feeling that outsider art gives me, but is not outsider art, because outsider art is a term typically reserved for like people, like a person who is not like trained or schooled in their discipline, but they managed to make good art in that discipline in spite of that. And I don't think that applies here, because these are incredibly skilled craftspeople of games. But I feel like the way that their games feel so different from everything else, it feels like they're not like responding to what's happening in games. They're just like making cool games from their brain out of this like alternate universe of game dev or something. Yeah. Like it feels so external to everything else I play. It just feels like this game that, you know, could have been made 2 decades ago or now, and it kind of doesn't matter. Like, it's just great.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the sincerity is a big part of it. I just feel, and the last thing I wanted to touch on was when I said that like there's sort of this dichotomy between like games and like art games, and this falls in the middle. I think that it's not just that you're like playing through like, oh cool, like RPG dungeon, and then a guy's like, have you heard of God? And you're like, oh wow. It's not like, it's not flipping between these two modes. I think that the game design itself in Analgesic Era, in Angeline Era, is it's like when I talked about Birdcage. Every screen in Birdcage, there was like a tangible idea where I'm like, oh wow, that's a cool design idea. That's a clever like design conceit. And then it just instantly moves on to the next thing. And it's like, oh wow, that's another like crazy different game design idea. Or like when I talked about why I like Dark Souls 2, it's like, again, you'll walk into a room in Dark Souls 2 and it'll be like, there's a hallway, there's arrows shooting down it, the floor is poisoned, there's a guy waiting for you at the end. And it's like, this is like a joke from the developer. It's a transmission of an idea. And I can clearly see the developer like winking at me and be like, that's some shit, huh? Like, how are you going to do this? I feel like there are so many sort of just like, I just feel like there's a lot of like inspired game design itself in here too, and I think that is like a dimension of the artistry. I didn't want to like misrepresent the artistry as like it's all philosophical or it's all thematic or it's all aesthetic or it's like this layer that's separate from the gameplay. I think the game design itself in Angeline Era is very inspired and inspiring. And I constantly walk into new areas in this game and I experience new things that I don't know. It's shocking to me that like I've been playing action RPGs that remind me of this for so much of my life, for like decades. And to see someone have so many fresh ideas in this sort of like genre space is like, it's crazy to me. I don't know. They're just they're doing crazy shit over there.
Totally agreed. It's great to see something that feels so, you're 100% right, so foreign and yet so familiar at the same time. Like, it's a thing that I feel like I've been in before. Like, I turned it on and my wife was like, is this trying to be Ocarina of Time? I don't understand. And then the screen went black because I switched over to the Apple TV so she could watch that new, you guys watching Heated Rivalry? Probably not. No. It's a really good show. Check it out. Just Google it. I'm not going to say anything. I actually think it's really good. I'm not being facetious when I say that. If you've seen the show, then that probably sounded facetious. I wasn't being facetious.
For context, it's about hockey. So
that's it. That's all you're going to tell them? All right, perfect. I think that's the best way to sell it. Just Google it. Yeah, because that happened, she heard the music playing and she was like, oh, that's totally Ocarina of Time. Like, that's exactly what it sounds like. And I think that they capture that nostalgia in the visuals, in the design of the modeling, the presentation, the colors, the way that they do. Like, I think Mello's posted an infographic of like, this is how we do all of the vertex lighting, how we do all the shading. So everything like animates properly, but holds its visual style. Like, it's the fact that this is mostly 2 people blows my mind and that they've made multiple games like this. Like, am I wrong to say that, Jeremy? Is it more than 2 people on a regular basis? I feel like it's usually just the 2 of them.
I don't know. I haven't checked the credits for this game, but I know that Marina and Melos are sort of the core of this, if not the whole of it. Yeah, I would not be surprised if other people contributed, but I would be equally unsurprised if it was like almost entirely them. I'll have to double check the credits.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the ones for Anodyne too, and like they're the only 2 names that I see here. There's like some coding tools that they credit, some QA people that they credit as well. Like, I'm sure it's not exclusively them, but most of the technical stuff looks like it's done by the 2 of them, which is at least on Anodyne 2. I don't know the deal with Angeline Era, but if their previous games are, I would say, of the same caliber of quality, there's just a lot more content here in Angeline Era, which, I mean, took a while. Stephanie was a couple of years ago. So.
I've like, having played, whatever, several hours of it, like more than 5, but less than 10. I feel like I've played a lot of this game and am surprised that I have so much to go.
Yeah, it's a biggie. It's really impressive. Angeline Era. Check it out on Steam and GOG for $20. It's a discount at launch of 20% as well. If you want to pick that up early enough, it'll still be on discount by the time you hear this, if you listen to it when it comes out. And if you are listening to it too late, that's your fault. Try to keep up to date.
It's worth every penny.
100%.
Sometimes I'll see a game and be like, is this like a 5-hour experience and it's like $30 or whatever, and I'm a little skeptical, but then I play it and I'm like, oh well, you know what? So the quality is high enough that it's there. This is a game where it's like the quality is there, it's $25 off sale, and it's like a huge fucking game that's just like, this is one of the best games of the year for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You say 25? Is it $25?
I think,
am I wrong?
Isn't it? Hold on, we gotta double check this. I thought it was 25 on Steam.
I don't want
to
lead people astray.
It's 20% off currently, $19.99. It is $24.99 when it is not on sale.
Oh, that's so weird.
But it is on sale till
price is $20 with the 20%
December 22nd is when the sale ends. So you got time.
There you go.
Grab this game. It's fucking awesome. Support people who make like weird, cool art games that are also fun. I don't know. I feel like you should throw money at these people so they can keep making games.
Agreed. I want Anodyne 3 or whatever they want to make. I'm joking. I don't care. Everything's been good so far. There you go. Angeline Era. Check it out. Check it out. I would like to talk about... Can we talk about Birdcage? Can we talk? Frank, did you play a little bit of Birdcage? You gave it a shot, yeah?
Yeah, I played. Yeah, I
Okay.
played. I think technically 4 out of the 6 stages. Maybe there's
that's
more
most
stages.
of it. By the time
I
that
saw
we
you.
recorded
You were streaming
the
it yesterday, and you were killing it.
there you go. So
Yeah.
what was your rank on average? You get A rank? B
So
rank?
I tried doing normal, and then like I don't even know if I finished the first stage or the second stage. So then I bumped it down to easy, and that was like, oh, perfect. So the difference between, I think easy, you regain health. I don't know how often, like what the mechanic is that you get health back on easy, but it was enough to like, okay, I can beat the stages and see the game. But even then, I died by like stage 4. But you do get achievements for killing each boss, so I was very happy to see that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like should Jeremy pitch or talk about the game because
sure, yeah, please, Jeremy, if you want to take it up. Birdcage, game by Polygon Bird, right? Giannis Giannis and Barry Epoch topping the team there made it. Yeah, go ahead.
Super talented developers. I came across their work, or at least initially Giannis's work, because I saw a game called Eco Breaker that they were working on. This is a game that is not out yet, and I hope comes out someday. Go wishlist Eco Breaker too. This game looks sick. This is another Polygon Bird game, TBA release date, but it sort of looks like a Xenogears inspired PS1 looking JRPG.
This looks amazing.
Yeah, so I was blown away by Eco Breaker, and I was like, whatever these people make, I will fucking play. And then I started seeing updates about Birdcage, and I was like, all right, fuck it. I don't even play this genre of game, but I will because I'm just like sold on these people's vision. So we talked about Birdcage a tiny bit at the end of one podcast, but we kind of never had a proper discussion on it, and I had not completed it when we talked about it, and now I have beat it on normal. Like 16% of people who own the game on Steam have done so. I'm just saying, it was kind of a hard game. Kind of a hard game. Yeah. This is a shmup, bullet hell. I don't know. This is not my genre, but it's I gather this would be a shmup if you know what that is.
Yeah.
It's like a Toho looking Ikaruga-esque, what are Radiant Silvergun?
Yeah.
A bunch of, I've been educated.
Blast Rush LS, if you want to go there. Star of Providence, I don't know, whatever. Gradius, sure. Keep naming
Since
games.
mentioning this game, I have had this is a very passionate fan base because since mentioning Birdcage, I've had a lot of people reach out and be like, "Oh, you gotta play this. Oh, you gotta play this."
Same, yeah. It's
and,
really cool.
And it's
that
not
people are
just like it's not just one game that gets recommended. I've had like 6 different games that people are like, oh, you got to play every game by like Treasure, or you got to play this.
You do need to play every game by Treasure, though.
I will. I'm radicalized.
Can we start a series on Noclip 2 where we just play all the Treasure games? I would love that. I would die for that.
I will do that. I would do that. Birdcage is like, I really, Frank, I think maybe this, I don't know if this would be a good streaming experience, but I was watching you play on easy and you were crushing it. I think you could push it up to normal, and I think you could beat this game.
Yeah, no, so like I've played Toho games and all, like I love those games. It's just like you have to like play it enough to memorize the patterns, and then you get into a flow state. Like it's incredible. It's hard because it's coming to PS5 next year, and I feel like so many of these games will come out on Steam. And like I see it, wait till I can get trophy, you know. But Birdcage blew me away just from the presentation, everything. Like, yeah, someone said it perfectly. It's Radiant Silvergun meets Metal Gear Solid 1. Like it's like even the codec calls is so incredible.
Yeah.
The music is phenomenal. It's so perfect, and like, yeah, again, it's got the bullet hell, all the lights and stuff. But like, yeah, it's what I really like about it is like it feels like there's 3 shooting modes. There's your default, which spreads, I don't know, the fuck, like, seems like I don't know geometry well. Whatever. You're a wide shot. You can then funnel it straight. And then my favorite thing, I think you hold L, you have like a laser sword that auto homes. And that was my favorite thing. So you're being more aggressive, like running up to the ships or bosses with your laser sword or whatever. And like, it was very fun to swap between all that. And then there's also a lot of times you're playing it where it's like, oh, just survival mode. Like, okay, crap, let me park my planes at the bottom of the screen and try to avoid stuff. But yeah, it also like, when you kill enemies and stuff, you get these little chips, these coins that fall, and it's so satisfying to grab. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, I was very, very, I mean, not surprised because Jeremy recommended it, so I knew it would be good. But I was, yeah, but even still, I think still surprised, like, oh my God, they really nailed this. I don't know. So I've only played, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes of it, but that 30 minutes of it I did play. And yeah, it was fun looking at the achievements because there's like just beat the game, and you can do if you do it on story mode, even on easy, if you die, you can just restart from that level or go back to level select. There's also, I haven't tried the arcade mode, but then there's achievements for doing like 1 credit clears, which I'll never be able to, like, I don't focus on any game except like fighting games you can do, but not these, I don't know, shooters. Yeah, it was awesome.
The 1 credit clear, I want to try. It's fucking without spoiling anything, the last like few encounters of this game, the entire screen is just bullets. It is like,
you've got like 1 inch to move between all of the shots.
It's like, I would say like 98% of the screen is bullets in the last boss fight, and it is like I was pulling my hair out trying to do it. It was fucking hard as shit. But like, that's what I like about this game. I said this when we did the indie rec too. It's like, I like games where I feel like I'm out of my depth. I like to be pushed to my limit. And then I like when I got to stage 4 or 5 in this game, I was like, I don't think I can beat this game. I think this is a game that I do not have the required like neural pathways to understand and do, because it's,
you don't have the right flavor of ADHD. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I've got the distracted kind, not the hyper focus kind. No, I felt like, to me, it was like, because I haven't played this genre before, I felt like the skill sort of floor was like above where I could get to or something on like at least on normal difficulty. It felt to me like I was like walking into the fucking arena and like a bunch of NFL players were like, yeah, everyone here knows how to play football, right? And then they just like, we're like, all right, go fucking run 60 yards. I'm going to like huck it to you Hail Mary style. I was like, I don't know if I can catch that, man. I'm like, but I feel like that's the joy of it, is just kind of like pushing myself and doing these levels over and over and over and kind of hitting a point where I was like, all right, today's not the day. And then I would think about Birdcage, and I wouldn't walk away being like, I'm going to come back and beat this. I would be like, all right, maybe I can't do this. But then I would get the itch to play again and be like, maybe I can. And I would just fucking do a run. And like Frank said, there's a stage select. You don't have to start from the beginning, but you start to understand like the sort of like design language of the game. Like the sword is all about risk reward. So when you pop the sword, you can release it, like Frank said, and it's like a homing thing that shoots out and does damage. But if you hold on to it, there's like a finite period where you can kind of like leave it in an enemy and stab at them and like fan it through them or whatever. And it does way, way more damage, but it's this risk reward thing where now you're like, a foot away from where the lasers are coming out of. So unless you really, really understand the encounter that you're in or the enemy patterns or whatever, you're instantly just going to get fucking, laser walled or whatever. But yeah, once it started to click and I started to kind of like understand, and once I started to like look more at my character model and focus more on dodging and focus kind of like less, I always thought it was like looking ahead at where the road was leading and like looking at the enemies, and that's why I was taking damage, because you're just kind of like, I didn't really understand you're supposed to just hyper focus on these little micro movements to kind of like thread the needle.
Like the enemies are in your periphery and you're kind of like shooting at the blurs at the corner of your vision as you hone in on the character. Yeah.
I had to swap where my rods and my cones were looking.
Everything's too red. There's too much red.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like, and the other thing is like, there's this sort of like, there's like this game sense that you have to develop in this game that I feel like this is part of the joy of the genre that clicked for me, is that it's like, when you look at a screen that's completely full of bullets, like if I showed this game to like, if I put it on a screen and showed like my like parents who don't play video games, they'd be like, "Wow, no,
this would kill your parents.
This would kill a man." I think that like understanding that it's about sort of like seeing these patterns unfold, like these geometric patterns, which are often overlapping. Sometimes it'll be like a spiral that fans out, and then there's like another thing where it's like a 45-degree cone coming from the right side. These overlapping geometric patterns, and then letting your brain sort of intuitively figure out where the gaps will be. Like that's the joy of this. Is like it's like this puzzle where you're responding in real time dynamically. I like puzzle games when they're not puzzle games.
One day we'll get you to play Minesweeper.
I mean, I've played Minesweeper. I'm just bad at it.
It's the same like muscle sensory development with rhythm games. Like for me, it was like Guitar Hero. You see 100 notes going down, and you're just like, you're reading it, and you're like, what your physical body is doing is behind what your brain is reading, and you're like stacking inputs in your head.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing when you see the lasers come. Like okay, like I keep my eyes at where the projectiles are coming out of. I don't even necessarily see my plane. I can just intuitively like, yeah, you can, I don't know, like modulate where your thing is going, and it's like, yeah, and that's like the funny thing too, is like with like the Japanese arcade cabinets, there are these long vertical machines, and you could have like if you had an iPad or a Switch and you flip it over. And so it's like an art to it, of like a technique that you really develop by just playing them over and over and over.
How intense are the ones in Japan on the cabinets? Did you get a chance to play many of those, or did you watch anyone go like you've seen the DDR modes? But
yeah, no, you will see salarymen just sit there like,
that's amazing,
just doing it, and it's like I'm assuming this guy's played this game every day off work for the last
just ripping cigarettes and playing Gradius for the last 20 years.
Because it's like
the life I want.
Capcom has a series called like 1941, 1942. There's also like Raiden, all these like old school, and like those are games I was playing as a kid, and not like, you know, with infinite credits or just throwing quarters, not caring. But then you realize like, oh wait, to truly play the game is to like not die, you know. And again, that's where achievements become like a backbone for me, of just like, oh no, wait, if I force myself to be a pinch better, you get the bullshit notification. No,
it's not bullshit. It makes you happy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I live for. So it's I don't know, but yeah. So like just diving into all these, because I had never played Radiant Silvergun. I just looked up. They had a game called Sylphid for PS2.
Yep.
I'm more familiar with like I know like Ikaruga, but yeah, there's just so many of these games, and like. Yeah, it's weird because of like price tag. It's so hard to justify like playing like a bullet shoot if you're not already obsessed with this genre. It can seem like, wait, a game with like 3 levels, why play? It's like, no, it's these are like so superbly crafted like mechanisms for you to like try to survive and learn and master. And like I feel like Justin and we talked about like with Geometry Wars, like that, like it's like a shift of the genre. But I feel like that's what was successful in Xbox Live Arcade and things like that. But yeah, there's like the lineage of this stuff is fascinating. And yeah, again, it comes back to like also with Japanese games like Galaga and stuff like that.
Totally.
Space Invaders. And it's
the very origins of video games.
Yeah.
So cool.
It is interesting that both Birdcage and Angeline Era are games that are sort of like elevating in an older genre in a way. Like neither of them feel like, I guess that this is what I wanted to say about Angeline Era, and I feel like it applies to Birdcage too. I think that they both feel like they are doing something that is in some way homage to an older style of game, but neither of them feel like homage games to me. And I think that's really important. Like there are moments in Birdcage and in Angeline Era where I was like, I'm more familiar with what Angeline Era is sort of inspired by, but like I didn't feel like I was playing like this is like a Zelda 1 inspired moment, or like this is like a Link to the Past moment. I got that sense that Birdcage was also kind of like doing its own thing while being inspired, but I don't know. I would be curious to play more of these and start to like wonder if I start to notice patterns that Birdcage is playing off of. But to me, I mean, to my naive brain, it's all new. So Birdcage just was like fucking constant novelty. But Angeline Era, I just felt like it was like nothing was like doing homage. It was just fucking, it was inspired by those things, but felt like totally its own thing.
I do think that's the greatest compliment that you can offer as someone enjoying a game from a genre you haven't played before, but also maybe the best thing you can do as a fan of something if you're trying to create a new version of it is like to have someone who's never played a game in that genre go, that was so good, I want to play more games in this genre.
Yeah.
That is huge. Like, you know, to Jonas and his team, like that's congratulations. I think you've succeeded in getting a lot of people excited about this. I've heard more people talking about Treasures games in the last couple of weeks because of Birdcage and Sectori than I have in a very long time, because they're so good at introducing the sort of gameplay, like you guys are talking about, noticing when the game turns into lines, you can like, you're not seeing it literally, but like, you know, this is the bullet path, and you start like subconsciously detecting all of the lines you need to weave between and when the bullets are going to get there. That's Bradley Cooper Limitless stuff right there. You know, that's a whole nother level. You're gaming at a different wavelength. And I think they've succeeded in making something that works on that wavelength. So congrats to them. Yeah. Birdcage is great. Check it out. It's on Steam for $14, right? Is it on sale?
I would have to double check. It's been a while. Every
Birdcage.
time I just type in Birdcage and I get the 1996 Robin Williams movie.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a different experience.
It's a great pairing with this game. It is
Yeah.
$13.99 on Steam and worth every penny.
14 smackerinos. Put that in your mouth and swallow it. I don't know. Whatever. Birdcage. Check it out. It's on Steam. It's a great game. It's going to come to consoles next year, you were saying, Frank? PS5?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's limited run games, but there is like a physical edition coming out somewhere, I think.
Yes, right, yeah.
East Asia Soft is has a page for a physical version, digital, 2026, hopefully, yeah, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox, all of that. So yeah, oh my god, oh yeah, I see the giant physical edition. Oh my god.
And the collector's edition comes with a CD for the game, which has Barry Topping's fantastic music. I think that he's such a great composer. Paradise, like the music in this game is great. Do not get me wrong. Every song, menu songs are great. The action stuff is great. Cutscene stuff is great. All of his music is very good here. If you, for whatever reason, like the same kind of music I do, which I don't know if I've been very vocal about, but like if you like that weird 80s, I was listening to a playlist on YouTube Music, and some of the stuff I listened to got called Yacht Club music, not like Yacht Club like Shovel Knight, like a club on a yacht, and I felt very insulted. But if you like that like Stevie Wonder-ish sort of like new wave pop stuff that was happening in the 80s and late 70s, the music from Paradise Killer that Barry Topping did is phenomenal. So good. That like New Jack Swing sort of sound. It's very, very good. Great composer. And the soundtrack that comes with the game is just like a picture of free birds flying through the sky. Beautiful image.
Birdcage might be soundtrack of the year.
It's up there. It's up there for sure.
When we do Game of the Year discussions, I would love to do a category debate about best OST.
I would love to do that too. MinMax does that every year. So far for the last couple of years, where they like sit down and talk about some of their favorite music from the year. So I would totally be down to do that. It's an original idea. We didn't take it because I think there's so much good music. There's no reason to have only one good podcast that talks about all of it. You know, I'd be down for that.
What about we do like a category for best podcast that talks about the best soundtrack of the year?
That's right, and we would win it.
And we would give it to ourselves.
That's because, of course, who else are we going to give it to? MinMax, Games Friends, and Getting Better. That's way too much for one podcast. Birdcage, check it out on Steam, $14. It might be on sale next week. Who knows? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
What do you know that I don't know?
There's a Steam sale next week on the 18th, I think. It starts. I'm not exposing anything. You can Google upcoming events on Steam. If you're smart. There's a bunch of great homage games. While we're talking about homages and getting nostalgic for the past, well, how about we talk about a game that's been in development for so long? It is weirdly nostalgic for itself. Routine, the first-person sci-fi horror adventure game. It is finally here after more than a decade. I feel like, again, I said at the top, the story's a little bit more interesting than that. I don't want to get into all of it because I'm not a journalist or anything, but I'll leave a link in the description to a good interview where basically they talked about restarting the game a couple of years ago. And it's still taking quite a long time, but not 13 full years. It's not a Duke Nukem. That's not even true for Duke Nukem Forever. So that joke doesn't even make any sense. Anyway, yeah. Routine, new video game. I have completed it. Jeremy, you've said you've played about half of the game, right?
I have. Yeah, without spoiling anything, I got to a sort of crescendo moment where it transitions into something quite different. I think you'll know, and anyone who's played it will know, but that doesn't spoil anything.
So you haven't played past the opening of that bit?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just making sure that I don't say anything because you are right at the point where I shouldn't even say anything from that point on. So we'll just talk about the first half of the game lightly. We're not gonna spoil anything, but I'll stay in that territory.
I mean, if you think the back half of it is significantly worse or better, that's not a spoiler to me.
No, not worse or better. It's just I don't want to overhype it. I don't want to color your expectations,
cool,
positively or negatively, overhype
it.
or underhype. I would like you to experience that on your own with your own emotions. Routine is the chunk of it that Jeremy has played so far is I think visually very arresting. It's a first-person sci-fi horror adventure game where you are playing as a software engineer, right, coming onto the ship to repair a security system that has malfunctioned after an event that took place on the moon. It's a moon base. We're whalers on the moon. We carry our harpoon. For all my Futurama fans out there. And you are basically helping out this, it's sort of a resort colony almost, I think. They sort of mention that there's people living there who aren't there just for work. They're also there for leisure. And you are adventuring through this area trying to, just repair that security system. And the way that you do that is by finding clues and solving puzzles that are fairly straightforward. I would argue this game is incredibly linear. It uses a lot of good visual language to direct you. But the most common visual language they use is you can't see in the dark, dum-dum, get out of there. So don't go that direction. Go towards the light, Carol Ann. And this one, Routine's structure of its puzzles and everything, I think works quite well for delivering the information. There's no HUD, there's no quest marker, there's no map you can pull up. Everything is self-directed. You have to pay a lot of attention to the point that the first 10 minutes of this game was me walking around in one room trying to figure out where everything was.
I was very lost at the beginning. It's sort of an emergent problem with this game looks so fucking good.
Yeah.
And the issue with incredibly high fidelity is that you play an old game. The item that helps you progress is a big glowing key that's 20 times too big and it's spinning around it's a symbol that represents a key. When everything is 1-to-1 hyper fidelity, a coffee mug looks equally as important as the thing that you need to progress through the game. So I got stuck in the beginning because I was just I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know where you want me to look. I'm like you said, I'm guided by what's glowing and what's lit up and stuff. But I was kind of this game is very hands off, which I appreciate about it. I was a little confused at first because it's so immersive. It was just fucking figure it out. And I didn't know what it wanted me to figure out or something. You know what I mean?
That's a very good point. The way that they deliver information to you is typically not in the way that most games do. Which I think is cool, but because you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to find anything out, it is that very early, learning a new language and you spend weeks memorizing, pronouns and nouns and how do you form a basic sentence. This is that sort of experience of the first 20-30 minutes of this game is you figuring out how to learn anything before you can progress. You have this weapon called the CAT, I think is the short form that they use. It's this very cool gun, probably one of the coolest weapons in games in a very long time. It's a really
good prop. It's a big cassette futurism, kind of Dead Space looking kind of, I don't know. It's this whole game's cassette futurism thing is for people who haven't heard that term before, it's an aesthetic that is, Alien. It's big chunk. It's what they imagined the future would look like in the 70s and 80s.
Yes, nothing ever got better for video than the cassette tape. It is the ultimate form of recording and sharing video. Audio, cassette tape, best way to do it. So visually, there's glitches and visual effects that are reminiscent of a glitching tape, or it uses this one stock VHS glitch that I see all the time, and I want to just keep a record of it. I'm not knocking them for using it. I just think it's very funny that everyone uses that exact same clip. but like, so there's that, there's the CAT, which is very cool because it's like your puzzle solving tool and your weapon that you use throughout the game. It is like a scanner that you would use, sort of similar, I guess, to Alien Isolation's heart rate scanner, but like you can hold it up and zoom in and like see everything around you, and it has a little bit of a lower frame rate. So it updates a little slowly. There's like puzzles that you solve with that and different ways of using it. But the way that you learn how to interact with the device isn't like you pick it up and then there's a little pop-up in the bottom left corner that's like press triangle to look at the gun and then interact with the buttons. You're sitting down and watching what is effectively a presentation, like a tutorial presentation in the universe for people who come onto the ship and have to use that tool. There's a like a power, not even really a PowerPoint, just a slide presentation that's projected onto the screen in front of you in this room, and you have to interact with it to learn like everything in the game, the menus and stuff. Because there's no HUD, it's literally screens being projected onto walls that you interact with by moving the mouse cursor and looking around on the screen and like clicking with your controller or your mouse, whatever you want to do. And that's how you interact with the menus and everything. So like the way that the information is given to you is tough. It's like really in the universe of the game. And then also you still have to walk around these environments that I think look great, but because of the way that the creatures are handled, because this is a horror game, there are monsters that are maneuvering through areas trying to stop you from, you know, living, because that's not what they want you to do, because they're evil, because they're corrupted. And you have to maneuver around them, and like you can stun them with the CAT, the cat gun. You have like a laser shot where you can disable them if you want to. But because
they're
game
like
is
androids, just to explain why like the tool in the like the electronic tool gun disables them. It's like the security helper robots are like haywire kind of thing.
Yeah, they're androids. They're creepy robots that to me as support robots, there's part of this game I want to be critical of, but like I don't part of it doesn't work for me. I don't know, whatever. But
That's
the gameplay
you
stuff.
can criticize this game.
I'm going to. I want to just make sure that I get clear of explaining what the game is before I say what I didn't like about it. I think what works for that delivery of information stuff is like the puzzles are very linear, but like the challenge of solving them is finding the information. Jeremy, how have you found the first half of the puzzles? Because that's how I felt about it. It's like the hard part is finding what you're supposed to parse, because once you have the information, it's very easy to sort of crunch it down and solve whatever the puzzles are.
Yeah. Yeah, there were I during this like more so towards the first like quarter of the game before I kind of like understood the pacing and flow of the game. I found myself lost a lot. I feel like this game's aesthetics and it's visual design and like its lighting and like the way everything about it I think is like basically perfect. Like I think it is like I wouldn't change a thing. I think it's like a 10 out of 10 looking sounding game. Like,
the sound design's amazing.
It is some of the best sounds in video games I've ever heard
when
in my life.
the androids, the Type 5s or whatever, when they find or they're looking for you,
they scan for you, and
the
it's just
scan is like
yeah,
dude. Oh my god, that's gonna be in my nightmares till the day I die.
It's fucking scary. But in terms of the game design, I feel like maybe that is sort of the weaker aspect of this game. I don't think it's bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it there were moments where it felt like I was trying to do what amounts to a very simple puzzle. But the way in which I was teed up to do it was like a little unclear. And I think the reason is because I think it really is committing to a very like diegetically driven immersive experience. I think they wanted to make a game where it just feels like you're living in this world. They didn't want like the fucking, I mean, that's the trade-off when you get rid of like the you know, Ubisoft World of Warcraft icons that point you in a direction. All of a sudden it's like the bumpers are gone and it's like you can fall into the fucking bowling gutter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's the price of this. It takes a very, very specific type of design to keep you on rails without the rails being there. And so I did find myself kind of like lost or confused sometimes. I eventually always got back on track, but I did feel like that was sort of the least focused area of this game.
Yeah, I think from a design perspective, it was like the setup of it, because this game started in development like 13 years ago. In 2012, 2013, this would have been a pretty novel experience. We were still sort of making games that were about characters following you around an environment, chasing you down and sort of attacking you and resetting your progression. You go back to the save point, and like that stuff wasn't super played out at that point in time. It was kind of like an acceptable thing. Now I'm so tired of that even though I thought this game was great, that part of it really, really weighed down on me, especially in the back half. Again, I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to color your experience. But at that point, I had done enough with the Type 5s, the big android enemies, and them sort of getting in the way of me just solving the puzzles that I wasn't excited about doing any more of that at any point. If anything with these games, I think I've said before, I don't find horror games particularly scaring, especially ones that are like jump scare, cut your progression back stuff. Because the thing I'm afraid of in that scenario is not being scared. The thing I'm afraid of is wasting my time. And there were a lot of instances in Routine, despite it only being like maybe 6-7 hours total for me to get through. I was like, why? I don't want to waste more of my time. Just let me I know what I need to do. The blocker between me doing the thing and the thing being done is this enemy that I'm not particularly excited to deal with. It's just kind of a little jump scare moment, and then I continue on, or it kills me and I got to redo the first two things because the game has save points that are like, actually, it's a pretty interesting way of interacting with it. Like you got to take out your cat gun and press the wireless
sync
connection
your Bluetooth
button.
with it.
Yeah, you got to sync with it, and it's like, they got to say pairing. No, it works pretty quick. It's good. Like that's how you save. You interact with the menu on that, and they're all over the world and stuff. That part of it for me did not work, especially after Soma. I don't know if you guys played that, the Soma first person.
I've played a little bit of it. I've never completed Soma.
There's a version of that game, or I think it's the a setting that they released later on, where you can disable the enemy AI. So you don't have to worry about the creatures on the ship. And it's a different design, of course, like it's very not what they were necessarily going for at the start, but there's something to be said about like exploring these environments and just seeing, because Routine, Jeremy's totally right. This is probably the prettiest game of this year. I think the art direction is fantastic. The use of color.
It's crazy. It's hard to overstate how like insanely good this game looks.
Yes. Like it doesn't even feel like, I think it was done in UE4, UE5, whatever the case.
They started working on it in Unreal 3.
That's funny.
And then they transitioned to Unreal 4 and then transitioned to Unreal 5.
It feels like it's an Unreal 6. Like it looks so good. And it's clearly not just a graphical fidelity kind of thing. It's like they're doing like the projector stuff I was talking about is like real in-game projectors. They invented light bulbs. No, but like they're projecting the image from a point onto a wall. So if you see a character or you walk past the projector, it projects onto part of your body or the cat as you hold it up. Like the lighting is just on another level in this game. It looks so good. The environments, everything. So when I'm pushed away from looking at them because there's an enemy nearby, I feel like I'm missing something. It's like, I just don't, it's totally a personal preference thing, I think, but like I just don't get on with that kind of game design, which is a shame because I said I like everything else about Routine, and I thought the puzzles were fine. They were fairly linear and like easy to solve.
There's a few good puzzles, like some of the scanner stuff they use in interesting ways.
Totally, yeah. There's a point that you would have got to that was like, very smart.
No, I agree with you. I typically am not a fan of like run and hide horror games.
Yeah.
Like I don't really like games where even like Alien Isolation is maybe one of the ones that worked the best for me in moments, and it's just not like a genre type that I really gel
Even
with.
that game though, by like halfway, it was like I was so tired of seeing the xenomorphs that I was just, I knew exactly how to deal with them. I was like, here's just enough flamethrower that you run away from me so I can keep doing what I was doing.
Yeah. I don't know, games especially with like really strong atmosphere, like even what the fuck is it called? Is it Little Nightmares?
Yeah.
I liked Little Nightmares 1, which is the only one I've played. But I don't know. I'm just like bad at fucking, if there's like a guy and he's trying to get you, he's always going to get me. And I'm like, if it's like instant fail, it's even worse if I get caught and it's just like, all right, back to the fucking start the Ocarina of Time castle over because the guard found you. I just suck at it, and it's not like fun for me. It's not like a gameplay loop to me. It's like a punishment loop or something.
Yeah, totally.
And this game is a little more forgiving on that. You kind of get like, if a robot catches you, it'll like pick you up and throw you, and then if it catches you again, you're dead. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of would have rather had more moments in this game be just about exploring like atmospheric horror.
Yep.
Like find more about like, because there is a lot of like reading, like emails that were sent between the crew here and stuff, and kind of like putting the pieces together on what happened. I kind of would have preferred. Almost like Seance of Blake Manor, I think, is a really interesting contrast with this, because Seance of Blake Manor, it's like there are sort of like zones of permission where it's like, oh, you can't go in there because there's a person in there, and it's more about like being context aware and less about being like spatially aware. It's not in Silence of Blake Manor. There's not like NPCs walking around and like Thief. You know what I mean? It's not like you have to like pickpocket an NPC. It's just about being aware of where you can and can't go at certain times. And I almost prefer that because it lets you just like focus more on narrative and immersion and world building. I don't feel like running and hiding. I mean, I guess that's not entirely true in this case because there were moments where I was running and hiding in routine that I thought were very effective and powerful. Trying to like lose the robots, seeing how their patterns of chase, also their behavior changes when they're in pursuit of you was very cool.
Yeah, totally.
And like kind of learning the rules. I think there were moments where it really worked for me. I wish that maybe there was a little less of it is my only note.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think when you see them sort of like the androids sort of standing off on their own, not moving or doing anything, and then suddenly they turn and just start running in one direction.
Scary.
It's scary. It's
way scarier when they're not moving for some reason. Like when I would walk in a room and one of them would just be like fucking T-posed there.
Because you're just waiting. You're like,
it's
I know
scary. I walked in and I was standing right next to one and one was just like staring into the wall. And that scared me way more than being chased for some reason.
100% agree. Yeah. It's one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know if you can make it work on purpose to have these enemies and have them be a threat, but like not interact with the player. I'm sure you could do it. I don't know if I've seen a shape like that where it's worked. I would love to play a game like that is what I'm saying. I think routine looks great. I wish there was more stuff to do, like Seance of Blake Manor, if you could do that sort of horror storytelling stuff like they do in the emails and in the media that you can listen to and watch in the game. Like there's those menus that you can interact with on the wall. Sometimes there's diary entries or emails you can read. There's cassette tapes with people recording their thoughts and everything. I think all of that works quite well. The voice acting is good and the writing for it. I think especially as it leads to the conclusion, it continues to get better and better, which I thought was great. I would have loved to see more of that. Not totally a knock on the game. I think it's still great. I thought it was still quite good. It just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be because of those parts. That's just me though.
If you like Soma, Alien Isolation, if you like who is it? Jeff Vandermeer, the guy who wrote Annihilation. If you like his work.
Oh, totally. Yep.
If you like, The Thing kind of, if any of those are sort of in your wheelhouse, I think this is an experience worth having.
Or weirdly 2001 A Space Odyssey. Like,
there is a lot
just because you're on a spaceship.
And kind of like The Shining a little bit. There's a little bit of Shining influence in this. But I don't know. It didn't blow me away so far, but I really am glad I played it.
I would love to hear your thoughts when you're done with it. If you want to save it for the pod next week or whatever, or maybe you don't finish it. Maybe you're like, this is terrible.
No, I'm definitely going to finish
it. Yeah, check. It's not much longer. It's like I said, it's maybe like 5 or 6 hours if you know what you're doing. You don't pee your pants like I did. Maybe you can finish it a little quicker. Routine. Check it out. It's on Steam and Xbox, PS5, right? It's on a bunch of different platforms. How much is it?
25, I think.
That is a reasonable price, I would say.
It is on Game Pass.
There you go.
Shit, really?
If you support the Microsoft Corporation, there you go. Yeah, developed by Lunar Software. Congrats to them for getting the game finished and out the door. It's a long development process, not just the whole time they were working on it, but it's great that they were able to have that idea all those years ago and get it down to the finish line. So congrats to them for making something that I think is at the very least one of the best looking games I've ever played.
There's also a cute robot in it, and he's kind of like snarky and funny, and I was like, Claptrap could never.
No, not.
It was like if Claptrap. It was like if I didn't hate Claptrap, and I was like, wow, that's fucking impressive.
It was like a cute version of Claptrap that didn't make me upset and wasn't voiced by Jack Black in the movie. So automatic free points there. And it's also voiced like they really stick to that 70s technological aesthetic. Like the best thing we ever had was cassette tapes. This is like the best voices we ever had was a speak and spell. We never figured out anything better than that.
Yeah, it's fucking the aesthetic vision for this game is out of this world. I think it's worth that's not a space pun. I think this game is worth playing just for experiencing like this aesthetic strengths, honestly.
Yeah. Break through your routine of playing video games and check out Routine, the video game that we think you should check out.
All right, GameSpot TV or GameStop TV.
Thanks for coming. Be
that
sure to buy a Funko
that would
Pop.
play on the TV and GameStop.
Oh boy. Well, okay. We've talked about most of the games that we had to cover this week. Angeline Era, Birdcage, and Routine. Quick hits on 2 things. Skate Story. New game out this week from Sam Eng. I think we've talked about it a couple times now, both on the pod and in a Next Fest video. This is like a third-person Tony Hawk style skateboarding game where you're doing flicks and tricks and lots of cool other stuff in a world that is like demonic and scary looking and sharp and very weirdly poetic and philosophical about the culture that skateboarding has around it. Like, it's not exclusively a game about performing great tricks. It is. But it's also a game about what skateboarding is and how counterculture works and everything. I think the game so far, of what I've played the first hour of it, is hitting all the same notes that the demo was and continuing from there. It is so much fun to play and get the controls down. The music is good. It's done by Blood Cultures, and just there's so much individual style oozing from everything. Like, there's text layered on the world. It's not just environments that you're skateboarding through. Like, sometimes you could stop and look and there's literal lines of like bodies of text printed on the ground. It is such a weird aesthetic vision that I absolutely adore. I think it looks great, sounds great, plays great. I'm loving Skate Story. Can't wait to finish it though, because I want to see if it totally sticks the landing. Finally, we can use that, and it kind of is a pun. Yeah, check it out. Skate Story on Steam and Switch 2, PS5, and that's it so far. I don't think it's on Xbox yet.
I've not played the demo for this. Does this play like Tony Hawk?
It plays, I would say, more like Skate, because like you get, when you're doing the tricks, it's sort of like you're doing flick stuff, but then also the you bend. It's so hard to talk about it the way
it
that
plays
it like presents
SSX.
it.
You're using the top triggers to prime your moves. So
there
you
we
hold
go.
like R2, and then there's kind of like almost like a rhythm game, not rhythm, but like there's a sweet like active reload. It's got like Gears of War active reload. You hold R2. And you'll be like a circle cursor, and if you pop on the green spot, you do like a perfect trick. If you miss the green, you'll do it, but it's like rough, and you get more points if you smooth it. So if you hold like R2 and R1, oh my god, it's like a nollie heel flip or whatever. So it's like figuring out those combinations. I've only played like an hour of it, so it's like but I did not. In my instinct is like, oh shit, I don't really like. So I want to keep playing because it's, as someone who's so hardcore with every skate game, it was like, oh god, I kind of like skate more.
So this is actually what I was hoping you would want to talk about with Skate Story, because like I think maybe it won't be a quick hit, folks. Maybe we're going to talk about it a little bit more. This game, to me, I like Tony Hawk, but I never really got into those games growing up, right? So I like the idea of a Tony Hawk game, and this works for me because it puts it in a narrative structure that I also appreciated. Not to knock Tony Hawk, but it sounds like, so you're not enjoying the narrative stuff as much. It's getting in the way of you skating.
Honestly, was like, I like Tony Hawk's Underground story way more. I was like, but again, that's why I don't want to talk about it, because I want to play I have had like there's 10 chapters. I've done only 1 out of 10, so I feel like I can't judge I
feel like if that's the case, you're not going to dig it.
yeah, and that was my horror. I was like anxious going to sleep last night. It's like, shit, I said I was going to talk about this game, but I don't like. Oh crap! Oh, so I tried playing it, and then I was miserable playing it. Not because it was like I'd rather play other games.
There's a review of it, folks.
So that's my instinct. But again, I played this game at like PAX East 2019. So like, and aesthetically looks awesome. But like sitting down to play, it was like, oh shit, I don't know. But again, I've spent so many hours playing Skate. There's even Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remaster I have to go back to. My brain is pulled in 600 different directions of games to play for Games of the Year stuff that it's like, it's so hard to find a groove on a game right now. So I was like, oh, I got to come back to this game because this game's been in development for so long that I don't want to be dismissive after 10 minutes when I'm already in a bad mood. So I'm like, no, so like if we do a regular podcast next week, I would love to play and talk about it. But yeah, I feel like, but I feel like this sounds so, but it's like, sorry. Because I've played almost every single Skate game, I feel like I need to truly play this and like pack my thoughts together. But I just have not had the time to do that. So that is where I'm at now. I'm very interested in it. But it does control differently. And then one thing I do like, when you press square, you like, what's the term? It's not, you punctuate your combos.
Yeah.
So there's been some instances where there's like this is the cool thing I like. At the end of a chapter, I don't know if it's every chapter, but at the end of the first chapter, there's like a boss, a quote unquote boss. And it's like you have 2 minutes to deal damage to the boss. How do you deal damage? Oh, stack a combo and then press square to like slam down, and then you're sending that combo to damage the enemy. So and if you're hitting your tricks on the active reload on the green, you land it smooth as opposed to sketchy. So there's this like timing and rhythm, and then there's like almost like Super Meat Boy. There's like hazards on the floor. And so you'll get points for jumping over the hazards, but if you run into the hazard, you fall, you shatter, you lose your combo. So it's like, oh, this is like very interesting. It's different than like extreme sport, whatever, or MTV skateboarding, like all these, it's so different. So that's why like my initial distaste for it is like, oh, okay, wait, it's wanting me to really reapproach how I'm looking at this. And yeah, the music is good, but yeah, I just have to like, I just need the time to be able to play it and gel into it. But yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to at least give it a shot, and it sounds like your perspective on it, I think, is even more valuable, because like I like it because it's like a postmodern exploration of the counterculture of skateboarding. It's like, you're made of glass. This is what it's like to be 35 years old, I imagine, as you fall and everything breaks.
This game is just about skateboarding in your 30s.
Yeah, it's not liking college and thinking fucking capitalism's bad, which, hey, yeah, baby.
And being made of glass.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Smoking cigarettes, drinking Arizona iced tea. I never grew up. So I like that interpretation of the world and style of skateboarding, but it's totally not, it's, I don't know. When I was growing up, I had this friend Jasper, coolest kid I ever knew, and he would take me to the skate park all the time. And we'd hang out with these guys who clearly were too old to be hanging around a bunch of 13-year-olds, but they would tell us like, hey man, skateboarding's for losers. And I was always like, what do you mean? You guys are so cool.
Who the fuck in history has ever said that's crazy?
He said
it's like the only thing everyone thinks is cool.
He said it in this way where it was like, not like skateboarding, like, I got the Element brand logo and stuff. He was like skateboarding as a thing that you do in your free time. He was like, it's what losers do, because it's like, we have nothing else to do with our time. And I was like, at the time I was like, oh, that's a profound thing to say. But now, now I'm not 13 and I'm like, well, I don't know what you meant by that. But it's just interesting to see the way that you can interpret the idea of skateboarding and like the counterculture that comes with that. Is it something that's exclusively up to interpretation? How do you look at it from an outsider's perspective? Because that's how I end up looking at it, right? But this guy told me this thing that I like clearly is exactly what someone who's 26 would be saying to a bunch of 13-year-olds. Like, yeah, people who do what I'm doing are losers. And I was like, which part? The skateboarding or talking to children at the park? Like strangers. Yeah, just every time I think of skateboarding and all that aspect of it, I go back to that weird random moment. It wasn't like deeply uncomfortable. It was just like what a weirdly not profound thing to say.
That's the funniest guy to be telling you what's worthwhile, is a guy who's hanging out at the skate park at 26 talking to 13-year-olds.
Who's drinking at 2 p.m.
He's like, yeah. He's like, listen, you don't want to be, you want to be like me. Like, that's fucking hilarious. Let me tell you how you should be.
Yeah. Here's my tutorial on life, kid. Don't be like me.
Crack open a Mickey's and throw that skateboard away.
Don't you want some Smirnoff? You're 13. You can drink, right? Your parents aren't here. That's my review of Skate Story is you can drink, my parents aren't here, don't talk to 26-year-olds at the skate park.
Skateboarding is like the coolest thing. I say this as someone who's bad at skateboarding and has never been good at skateboarding. Skateboarding is cool specifically because it is one of the dumbest ways you can spend your time. That's what's fucking cool about it, is that it's like, it's awesome to master something so like
dangerous and
so
unsafe.
Anti-utilitarian, yep. So dangerous, so high risk and low reward.
Yep.
That's just like, I don't know. That's why it's a cool creative expression. And it's so like, it's like ephemeral too. Like it's like a sand mandala. Like it doesn't create like a lasting thing. It's just like this fucking, it happens in the moment and it's gone. And like,
dude, if a Buddhist monk was hitting an ollie, that would be so sick though.
Dude, if the Dalai Lama was fucking hitting a 5-0, I'd be
a McTwist, that'd be sick.
My pants.
Yeah. Skateboarding's cool. Check out Skate Story. It's on Steam, Switch 2, PS5, $20.
And it is on PlayStation Plus. I don't know which tier. It's on one of the tiers, but yeah.
Yeah, not just the subscription. You got to get the like plus extras.
Catalog. Again, it could be on the base one, but I just pay. I have the max out one, but I don't know what the different tiers are.
Yeah, again, terrible at the naming over there at Sony. What are they doing? What happened to Fair Games? What are you guys doing? I want to play Game of the Year. Yeah, those are all the games this week. Again, Angeline Era, Birdcage routine. What else do you want to talk about? What's up?
Yeah, I'll talk about the game. I bought Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, and I
started
playing.
Why are you skipping over this? Why didn't you tell me?
I've only played, again, because we record early in the week, it's like I thought we would have way more time to play all these.
In your defense, we recorded on Thursday last week. We're recording on Tuesday this week.
So I was like, dude, oh my God. So that's why I was like, I feel like I didn't do my homework, but I spent, I don't know. So that's the constant anxiety I'm in. But so I had a rule to myself. I wouldn't pick up Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater until I beat Death Stranding 2. Because like Kojima and his team have spent years working on a new game while Konami just remastered their old one. And it's like, well, I can't like ignore Death Stranding 2 and go back to MGS 3. So I finished Death Stranding 2. And then it was on sale for like $40, Metal Gear Solid 3. And again, I've only played the first hour, but like, oh my God, just my memories of MGS3. I played on PS2. I played the PS3 remaster. But like it feels like playing Resident Evil 4 Capcom style. The new camera is so good. Even like the mud effects crawling around. This is just like the first 30 minutes or hour. I'm playing in the Japanese audio language track, which is really exciting. But that is a game I'm generally like, okay, I'm excited to play this. So that's the game I'm most. It's like there's no review. That's the thing I'm most excited to play. I also have played a third of MindsEye because that game was on sale for 10. These are Black Friday reviews.
I love the games that you're playing, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't fit the like. This
hey,
is,
who cares?
You know, like, but this is what I.
It's a video game you play. Talk about it.
Yeah, that's like. I feel like it's important when you're on episode 257 of a fucking podcast.
You know what you're into.
And no, it's the opposite. It's important to like keep it fucking. I think that every podcast I've ever listened to that got bad is because they adhered too strictly to a formula or because they were trying to like recapture what they did back in the day or something. I feel like it's fine to like if this podcast is sometimes about like these are games I'm excited to play, these are games I haven't had time to play, but this is why I find them intriguing. Like that's fine. I don't think it always has to be like a fucking book report.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. So I got MindsEye. It was $10. That was the thing where everyone came out. People were, you know, yeah. It's
yeah, people weren't very positive about it.
No, and it's not. It's the kind of thing where it's like extremely fun to stream because then you have like hundreds of people making fun of it and we're clipping it. So it's like if you're playing this game by yourself, don't. If you're playing it with friends, it's funny. It feels like playing a bad like Xbox 360 launch game. But
so what is it? Is it like a GTA clone style thing? Is that unfair? Is it metaverse still?
So I don't know the story of the what do you call it? The origin of this thing, I feel like they came on stage at the Game Awards years ago and was like, we're working on a game. It's called Everything. It's going to be everything. And it felt like an NFT metaverse tech bro, like grift thing. And then the end result, like 8 years later, was like, here's MindsEye. When you're playing the game, it's the most bizarre experience because you can tell they wanted to make like something that was like Cyberpunk or GTA, an open world game. But so this is a open world game where you're just going from mission to mission to mission. There's no open world activities. You can even like when you're driving to your next mission, you can like press square to skip the drive sequence. So it feels like you're only playing 20% of a game in which the side content would be fun. It feels like playing Saints Row, but you can't do anything. It's such a bizarre game because it feels like 20% of a finished product. And so you're playing it and you're like, I think I knew what they were trying to go for. But yeah, it just feels like playing like a generic Ubisoft game, which again, it's not a compliment, but I'm always interested in ambitious failures. Like it's like, oh, this is so fascinating to see. There's only English language track. You can't play it in Japanese, but what I think is really funny about it is like, the trophy progression is like if you just beat the game, you get a platinum. So I'm like, you'll do the most mundane thing, and it's like, here's a silver trophy. It's like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I don't know. So I think I'll keep playing and keep beating it. There's also something very funny and inconsistent for like the first mission or two. If you run over an NPC, it's like an auto fail state. Like, oh, be careful of hitting civilians. If you run over 3 people, that's your max. You fail the mission. After that first mission, they forgot to like put that gate on or whatever. So like it's inconsistent because then most of the missions you can just run around and run over people and the game doesn't say anything or penalize you.
Wow.
So it's like it feels like I'm actively QA a game that's already been abandoned and they're done patching, but it feels like I'm QA testing because every single mission I'm just seeing how I can break the game. So like I don't know. It just feels like a thing that shouldn't have been released, but I'm playing it. I have the physical disc. It was $10, and now they can't take it away from me. I own it's not like Concord. We're gonna shut down the servers. And Concord's a game I wish I was able to play. So yeah, I don't know. MindsEye is it's like a fascinating failure, and the actual shooting and driving is okay. Like this is not a recommendation. This is not like, but it's like it's just like it's a bizarre game because it feels like something that shouldn't have been released. It feels like 20% of a finished game. And it really makes me wonder, like, what the hell were they going for? I don't know. It's also something that's kind of cool is the city, I think it's like Red Rock. It's Las Vegas. So I'm like, oh my God, they even have the Dome. There's the Mandalay Bay. There's the Luxor. It's not.
Do they have the big Bass Pro Shop pyramid?
I should see because because the fact that they have the Dome in there is like, oh, this is like modern Vegas. Well, it's like it's I don't know, it's fake future, but it's basically Las Vegas. The fact that there's the Luxor, the Mandalay Bay, Treasure Island. So it's kind of funny noting all these locations and like, oh my, and like I love Las Vegas. Again, my dad took me to Vegas. There's been lots of video games that have taken place in Vegas. San Andreas. There was like LA Machine Guns by Sega. There's a level where you're in Vegas. So anytime I see a real life location reimagined a video game, it's always fascinating. It's also interesting to see what era they've captured. So this might be the first Vegas-inspired video game that has the dome set in its place. So if you just want to talk about the history of a city, like in terms of Las Vegas games, this is one that no one knows about. Like they used Las Vegas as the model, and yeah, I know. I feel like it's like the it's like chasing Bigfoot or something. No. There's a thing where it's like I need to keep playing this game because it's a game that no one would play beyond the novelty of being a Twitch streamer and like look how bad this shitty game is. Ha. But now it's like, dude, I don't know. It's $10. I like getting trophies. It's easy to play. It's funny to play. I'm gonna keep playing it. I like playing it. It's not good, but it's fun. It's like skateboarding. It's like only losers
skateboard.
Only
losers.
You
don't want to play that game, bro.
Yeah, you don't want to play MindsEye. You're not cool. You don't get it, bro.
Yeah, do you want a PBR?
Because I like, you know, I can probably look at my PlayStation stats. I probably played like half an hour Birdcage, like an hour of Skate Story. I've played 5 hours of MindsEye this week.
That's
crazy. So anyway, I played.
Sorry, Sam Eng, my bad, brother. We got some MindsEye. I'm kidding.
It genuinely like.
There's like no pressure if you're playing MindsEye. That's the thing too. It's like who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But again, hey, build a Rocket Boy. I want to know your story. Lindsley Benz.
Published by IO Interactive. Can you believe that? The Hitman developers published this game?
I was at an E3 conference and they like had a presentation on MindsEye, but then there was nothing. There's no like follow up like, oh, do you want a key for this or anything? I was like, I want to play MindsEye. And then the reviews came out and all that stuff. But yeah, it was weird that they marketed this game at E3 and now, you know, I think I also played it earnestly just because like, oh, if we are going to be doing a comprehensive game of the year thing, like it is worth talking about like, quote, what's not worst games.
We're going to have our Razzies.
That's such a mean thing, but like underwhelming because I have a lot of complicated feelings about Skate. That was on one hand an abysmal disappointment. On the other hand, it's really fun to just skate. It's not fun to do the achievements. It's not fun to do the story or grind rip chips or listen to the fucking voiceover or all the crap in the game. But the skating is really good.
Right.
And Skate Story, from my shallow like first impressions on it, I'm not 100% gelling on the story or the vibe of it. Like I get it. I just want to skateboard. Oh, the skating is cool. It's different. So it takes me a minute to unlearn skate. It's not Tony Hawk, but the SSX trick, like the active reload jumping, the slamming. Okay, that's cool. The Super Meat Boy. There are some Skate Story now, not MindsEye. Skate Story. There's sequences again that remind me of Super Meat Boy because you're barreling down like an alley or a hall and you have to jump over stuff. So it does have that Super Meat Boy platforming, which is also like ollie. So it's like, oh, there's a lot here. But again, like a lot of the times I'll do is I'll play a game, then I'll go for a walk, I'll go for a bike ride, shower, and then my brain is thinking about it, comprehending it, and then I come back to it ready and refreshed. So yesterday was my day one. I played a little bit of Birdcage. I played a little bit of Skate Story, slept on it. Now we're talking about it. And now after hearing Jesse being like really charmed by Skate Story, I'm like, oh shit, maybe, yeah, okay, let me, again, and I want to report back later. And I feel so bad sometimes because like we'll talk about a game and then I'm like, oh wait, was that our one chance to talk about the game on the podcast? And like I generally do not.
Why do you think I haven't talked about Digimon Story Time Stranger? I'm fucking waiting.
Nope,
I don't want to talk about it because if I talk about it, this will be the only time we talk about it. So I'm gonna wait.
I brought up Birdcage twice, but it wasn't in any of the episode thumbnail titles.
Right.
So I feel like it was clear to do again.
Yeah,
but I know I totally get what you mean. It's like there's pressure to make sure that you have the one thing you're going to say is how you talk about it the one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to have your definitive statement.
And then my true obsessions, I'm obsessed with. It's not video game stuff. It's Sentai Car Ranger, XPW wrestling, but the video game stuff. Although I'm watching XPW, which was public access Los Angeles backyard wrestling. But all those wrestlers ended up in backyard wrestling too. So I'm working my way to playing backyard wrestling too because I'm studying.
I like how you 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon your way into talking about stuff.
Yeah. That's
it works.
Can I say one thing about MindsEye?
Yes.
Having never played it and only ever seen screenshots of it, the vibe I get from it is that it looks like a game that exists purely in screenshots and for the sole purpose of swindling Chinese investors that is like millions of dollars. That is for some reason, that is when I look at it, that's the feeling I get.
It is called or was previously going to be called Everything, right? So they were definitely trying to be like, this is the
platform it
platform.
exists within.
Isn't that Everything? Didn't they change it? So now the platform in the game.
So there's a thing in MindsEye called Arcadia.
Arcadia. Okay.
Which is like it almost feels like Fortnite has creative mode. There was a game called Dreams, which I really like. And Skate Story
cool.
kind of feels and looks like a game that was made in Dreams. It's way more than that, but like that. But like it's God. That's why MindsEye is interesting. It's like so I don't even know if I have access to the tools to create levels in Arcadia. I think anyone can make stuff in Arcadia. Arcadia is the idea is like, okay, we've given you all the tools to make missions. So does that mean people can buy this crappy game for $10 and then program their own GTA missions? If so, it's like, oh my God, this could be a genuine, like, it's like an unintended, it's like Cargo Cults. Like this game was dumped in the middle of nowhere. Kids can find it and start
And now
building
they're
levels.
dependent on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's why like I gotta keep diving into. Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack in MindsEye. So I've only just begun my excavation. You know,
The
and I'm not ready
funniest
to
thing
report to the
The funniest thing about MindsEye to me, more than the game's troubled development and release and post-launch, is it stars Alex Hernandez as Jason Diaz, right? The main character. He was also the lead in Mafia 3.
Oh.
He did a really good job in Mafia 3, but that game did not do well. I don't know if he's done a good job in MindsEye, but this is now the second open world sandbox driving around shooting video game that he's been the lead on that has not worked. Most cursed man. What a weird trajectory to work on two of those and have them both do poorly. Poor guy.
Listen, I just want to say if you have like $1 billion and you live in Shanghai, I mean, I could throw together a few screenshots of like a guy driving like a, golf cart in the desert, and maybe you throw me $40 million.
You get so much money for that. Well, there you go. We did talk about more than the 3 video games this week. I'm so glad you're able to talk about those, Frank. And yeah, to Jeremy's point, don't ever feel like you need to not talk about something just because you're not going to be positive or it doesn't feel like it fits with the current tone. Just talk about whatever you feel like talking about.
Some of my favorite episodes of the podcast we've ever done were not a person who played a game and reporting on it. It was like, when we like called that dinosaur a pedophile and looked at Super Nintendo games, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't listen to the podcast. I just like exist when it's recording. So maybe I have a different experience of it, but I like when we just like someone comes on and they're like, I want to talk about this like idea in games, or like has sort of a weird orthogonal topic. It doesn't always have to be like, this is, I read Catcher in the Rye. Catcher in the Rye is a book.
By J.D. Salinger. He wrote this and said that. And yeah, you don't have to do that. Just make sure you're having fun. That's all anyone cares about, is that we're all having a good time. And we do when we're talking about or playing video games and answering questions from our listeners who have sent in a ton of questions this week. We have so many. This might be a second podcast in terms of the amount of questions we got. Frank, you want to take it away?
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Feel free to please send emails to podcasts@noclip.video or on our Patreon Discord for in the podcast chat channel. You can send us questions. Our first one is a really great question because I always paralyze myself over this. Peter asked sent in a question about indie games. The term indie game has been stretched by journalists and award academies for some time now, to the point where even high-budget publisher-backed games are sometimes called indie titles. What will your criteria for an indie game be starting in 2026? Do you think this term should finally evolve into some more defining category? Do you think that this term indie has become a publisher buzzword to promote more risky approaches to games? What is an indie game?
All right, so we've talked about this a lot with Noclip too.
A lot.
Here's the secret trick. Indie means nothing. It is a label that like you can put on something that's like AA or something that was made by like one guy in a basement in Houston. We've talked about the term underground games, which is a term that is so try hard and cringe that it safeguards people against self-labeling as underground. And so I think that it is a like if you make a game and you're like, I'm working on like this kind of like underground. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. But if we say it about your game and we mean it as a compliment, then I feel like it's a meaningful distinction from indie. But what's indie? I don't know. It's not fucking
Indies. It's a marketing
indie is
term.
not AAA at this point.
No, which is a useless distinction because like you said, the range of size of the development team, like that really, it's a marketing term that we shouldn't really have to use in the way that we do. Like when people talk about indie movies, they end up bringing stuff up that's like published by Fox Searchlight or Orion. Like These are subsidiaries of large film publishers like Fox or I forget who Orion's under, but like they have these big companies that have all this money. Or A24. Like A24 is not an indie publisher anymore. Like they're so far past that. You see the money that they have for these movies. It's a nothing term that's more vibes based than it is anything else. And I think when you try to define it, it's like it's not useful outside of the context in which you're using it. Like there was this big conversation going around with the Indie Game Awards, where it's run by a group of people who run 6-1 Indie. They're like really nice guys, but they have this collection of games for Game of the Year that includes Expedition 33, and like that's not an indie game. Like anyone with eyeballs can see that's not an indie game. Like it's, but for whatever reason, it's like when you start to define the term, it's like, how do you categorize it, you know? And I think that's why I've seen a lot of indie developers, there I am doing it, what we would call indie developers, trying to self-categorize in different ways of like being more explicit about what they mean when they say indie. Like, do they mean self-funded, self-published? Do they mean, single developer? And when they say that, do they mean single developer? Do they mean one dev who's contracted out a bunch of work? Like just being more specific, I think, is the more useful thing. Because when you say indie game, do you mean pixel art stuff? I've had people say indie games are like anything self-published, which is like also not entirely true. Because what do you do with Larian's games? What do you do with like Cyberpunk 2077? Like the categorization is so useless where it's like you're trying to define
Baldur's
something
Gate
that
3
makes
an
no sense.
indie game is fucking super funny.
It's self-published.
I know. No, it's technically.
Like-
Kepler, who published Expedition 33, is interesting too, because it is a independent like publisher formed by 7 independent game developers that came together to form it.
Right.
So it's like if your publisher is like a Megazord that's made out of 7 indie game developers, is it still indie? I don't fucking know. I think indie at this point is just it's vibes based.
Yeah,
it kind of means
marketing.
nothing to me. If someone says this is an indie game, I just know it's not like a God of War or Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like not clarifying or useful as a genre descriptor, but it ends up being all that's said sometimes. Like, yeah, it's a really cool indie game. What about it? Go on. I
feel like team size should be, we should restart everything, and there should be like a
like Expedition 33 was made by 33 people.
Yes. Yeah, that's why they called it Expedition 33. We need like a Starbucks cup size system where it's like a venti game has like 35 or more people. You know what I mean?
I agree with that in theory, but I feel like the industry has a hard enough time crediting people that we would end up saying stuff. Like I was joking about the Expedition 33 thing because it's like everyone was saying it's made by 33 people, but like look at the credits. It's not 33 people. It's clearly they contracted out a bunch of work, and who knows how many of those people are properly credited. Like there's so many questions around it.
I also feel like it can be stretched the other way too, where it's like anything that's not Fortnite or Roblox is indie. I feel like we have to unite. I don't know. This is a conversation I was talking about. I talk about too because it's like I'm terrified to mention anything for like an indie rec because it's like I don't know what that means. The word has lost meaning to me. But I get the core behind it, and in my head, like if a game has the resources enough to end up on a console, that doesn't feel indie to me. It's like somehow they were able to submit it to Sony and like. Yeah. Like I it's just like so it's like I don't know. Yeah, I truly do. That's why I kind of like I'm still playing MindsEye. I don't care. This is an indie game because I don't know. MindsEye is cheaper than most indie games these days.
MindsEye is an indie game.
I don't know. So I truly do not know. I think like, but I think this is. I mean, Jeremy can. This is like. What is it? It's like everyone has their own perception in reality. Like what you define, like everyone perceives stuff differently, even across languages, whatever. Like I was even looking into there's an indie game festival in Tokyo, and I'm like, what the hell does that mean over there? Was it? I don't know. I got to find out. Like, I don't know. I truly do not know what an indie game is.
I think to me it's like the way like to use a parallel when people talk about movies, and there's kind of like. People will be like, "Oh, is this like a Hollywood blockbuster like popcorn movie, or is this like an art house film?" And I like having gone to film school, you meet some of the most insufferable fuckers imaginable who are like, "Oh, you like." Because like I'm kind of an anti-Christopher Nolan guy, but I feel like the film bros who think that Christopher Nolan is like the peak of art are equally obnoxious as the people who are like, "Oh, that's not like a real movie." It's like, because the way I talk about movies is like, and this is the people that I enjoy talking to movies about are people who will talk about like an Ozu movie in the same way they'll talk about, you know, like
Cat in the Hat.
that Fat Camp movie with Ben Stiller in it. Heavyweights. You know
It's
what I
a good
mean?
movie.
Like
What do you mean?
a movie is a fucking movie, and like a game is a game. And I just think it's like it's more useful to talk about you know, like sort of like, oh, this is a game I really like for these reasons. And in terms of scale, just being like, yeah, it's interesting. Like Angeline Era, I can't believe these, you know, this small team. Maybe like small team is like a more useful, like a craft artisanal, locally sourced small team game.
I think part of it too is the reason that people are looking for them. Like when you're looking for an indie game, what do you really, and I think that kind of gets to what you're saying of like the art house bro thing of like, I want to play games that are against the mainstream. I don't want to play the big AAA stuff. I don't want to play the popular things. I want to play something that's weird and small and indie. And I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to do that, but it means that it's like an easier term for marketers to prey on of like, oh, this is an indie game. You want to play something weird and offbeat? Come play Dave the Diver. It's an indie game. Trust.
Yeah,
come check
that's
it
a good
out.
point. Yeah. And even like games that are truly like indie or whatever, like made by a solo developer or whatever, but just sort of like reify existing design patterns that I think are kind of not, you know, like, I don't know, I guess are tasteless. I won't say a specific game name because I don't want to shoot at anyone, but like games that are just like emulating casino games or just doing like dopamine loops. You know, just because a game is made by one person doesn't mean it's high art, and just because a game is made by 300 people doesn't mean it's like dog food.
Yeah, I think that is an important. It's weird because like the distinction that we do on Noclip 2 is we do it, I think, with the intent of helping developers who are smaller and like don't have the resources to do their own marketing or don't have enough of it to do what they really need to do to have the game be successful and they continue to make games. And we try to do whatever we can to help them out. That's the goal I think we have when we use that word. At least that's my interpretation. Danny might come on here and say I'm entirely wrong. I doubt it, but like that's my feeling on it personally when I try to recommend something for an indie video that we do on Noclip 2. And I think that's really the way that we look at it. If you're looking for the group perspective, I don't think that's unfair, guys, that we just use it as a tool to help people and look for teams that need that help, usually who are smaller developers or don't have the way to do their own marketing. Is that unfair?
Yeah, no, that feels reasonable. It's stuff that we feel like is good and deserves more attention than it's getting, is maybe more of like a relevant dimension for us than, you know, indie or whatever.
Yeah.
Is this game, should more people be paying attention to this game? Is it getting not enough eyes? And that is sort of like a downstream effect of like indie in some sense too, because if you're making a game that costs $50 million to make, you probably have like a marketing budget and you probably have like people who are like the marketing guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Even stuff that has publishers, sometimes it's still like, you need a little help. It's all right. Stuff happens. Lots of thoughts on indie games. Next email, Frank?
Yeah, the Wyvern sent in a question about sentimental hardware. Have you guys have any hardware that's got a story behind it or that has sentimental value they'd like to talk about? Could be a family console, a peripheral you got from a first partner, a PC you built and will never part with, that kind of thing. I recently started wanting to play some classics I missed out on, so I've picked up some old games consoles from eBay and friends. I always wonder what the stories are behind some of these items.
I'm trying to think if I have anything in particular.
I mean, all my like childhood consoles, there's not really like a story behind them. It's just that they're
You just had them for
imbued
20
with,
years.
Yeah, but with growing up, like getting a Super Nintendo and playing it as a kid is kind of just the extent of it. I do know that my parents bought an NES when my mom was pregnant with my older brother, so that she would have something to entertain her while she was just like chilling in bed pregnant. So I that's kind of like a neat story, but I don't know if they still have the NES or anything.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that's the thing for me too, is a lot of that stuff, I can think of a sentimental story, but I don't think I own any of them anymore. Like, I know my mom worked really hard to get me a Wii the second year it was out or something. I really wanted one for Christmas. My neighbor had it. I was like, Mom, if you get me this, even if you only give me Wii Sports, I'll be so happy. I'll play Wii Sports, nothing else. And I really did. I really only played like Wii Sports for 3 weeks. Don't catch me on bowling. You're going to get your ass beat. But like, I really loved having that thing. And then I asked for another game and now I have a problem. But it was a big deal because that would have been right after the financial crisis, I think, when she would have had to get that for me. So it wasn't like $200 for a game console was a big ask. And I always think back to that of like, my mom worked really hard to get that. We were never well off. She was a single mom and, you know, she didn't have like an amazing job or anything. So she worked really hard to make sure that me and my brother had everything that made us happy. And I always think back on that. And, you know, Very meaningful when I think about that. I don't know where that Wii is. I should probably track that down. Sorry, Mom. You worked really hard for that. I swear I still have it somewhere.
That's sweet.
Frank, you got anything? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I still have like the Game Boy, my original like Game Boy Color or whatever, and I was thinking like, oh, that thing's gone to Russia. Like that's kind of wild. Like,
That's so cool.
I would play Pokemon Yellow, and then I had a CD Walkman with like Limp Bizkit. And then like
that's the
only,
most Frank Howley thing you've ever said.
The only like I guess like yeah, I have my dad's CRT TV, which I didn't even realize he still had, but in his bedroom. He had a CRT with like a VHS like player inside. I'm like, that's so valuable and crazy. So now I have this like CRT I've barely used, but like if I ever want to connect old consoles, it's like, oh, I have a Prime CRT because those are so hard to get. They're so heavy and like the ultimate way to like play retro consoles or whatever. But yeah, that's the only thing here. Like I have consoles and stuff, but I was thinking like as a kid, like I had PS1, PS2, but it was easy. You would like, I would sell them away because like PS2 can play all your old PS1 games. PS3 Fat can play all your old games. And then even like PS4 can play all your PS5 can play your PS4 games. So it's like, oh yeah, for a long time I was trading away all my consoles. So everything I have is now, but it's like stuff I've purchased like as an adult. I have a friend who works at Fortnite who like on their spare time like kind of like mods consoles and like so I have a friend who like sent me an Xbox with every Xbox game with a built-in hard drive, and that is like the greatest thing ever. And then they also sent me like an Xbox 360 where they did like brand new what's it, heating gel or whatever it's called. Like they like
the thermal
they
paste, yeah.
Yeah, they legitimately like it's almost like it's the equivalent of like building a PC, but they'll take apart a console and replace the parts, but it's still running the original like software and hardware. But it's like, oh, now like replace the hard drive on that Xbox. Like that's just a crazy sentence to me. I know people do that, but like that is a very thoughtful and sweet gift. So these two Xboxes for my friend in North Carolina are like, I don't know, it's like yeah, it's like custom having custom Xboxes means the world
cool
to me. So yeah, thank you very, 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 very much to my friend over there.
That's really cool. I dated a girl in high school whose brother-in-law made a living by modding Xboxes by putting like a ton of games on the hard drive and selling them on eBay, which is like the most illegal thing fucking imaginable. But I always thought that was very, very funny. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had a fucking Xbox that was loaded up with like a game hard drive. That rules.
It's the best, yeah. And then another question, Koshimitsu, which I love the name, Koshimitsu asked, when you pick up a fighting game, what kind of characters do you gravitate towards and why? Do you choose the all-rounder main characters like Ryu or Jin Kazama? Are speed and maneuverability more your thing, such as Cammy? Big characters develop half the screen. Personally, I always go to the Freako characters like Voldo.
I love going fast. I'm much like Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. I want to go fast, mama. Shake and bake. No matter what, if there's a character there that they're like, oh yeah, every hit does like 1 damage, but you could do 300 hits a second, give me that. Or someone who's doing like cool, like capoeira or like dancing while they're fighting, like DJ in Street Fighter 6 was my immediate go-to. I never learned how to play anyone else until M. Bison, because I just love the way that he moves and shakes. Or like, I think I similarly in Mortal Kombat, I played, is it Boraicho? Is that the
oh yeah, Bo Raicho, yeah.
Yeah, I played him because he was just like the drunken master. He was like wiggling around on the screen. I love how slippery he is. Yeah, that sort of thing. Anyone who moves weird or moves really fast, those are my go-to.
Yeah, like it's weird because as a kid, like a lot of like my mains and all the fighting games are like choices I made when I was like 10 years old. Like
it's like sports teams. I like the Broncos because they were orange. I'm never gonna move on.
So like as a kid, like because of WCW versus NWO World Tour, I like became obsessed with wrestling. So with Street Fighter, oh my God, Zangief, he's a wrestler and he's Russian like me. Tekken
so
King,
cute.
oh my God, he's a wrestler. And then but like when I go to games if I play like a weird ass old random game, I always pick like, all right, what's like the token like cute girl character? What are like. So I always like go like, and you'll see these games and everyone there's like the archetypes of all of them. So like nowadays, if I don't know this franchise, I'll just pick the cute girl. But then like yeah, there's definitely an era like even Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or 360 era when games were online. I would pick like what's the troll character. So like Surfbot, okay, the tiny like so harassing people with like the weird characters are. Dead or Alive 4 specifically, I picked there's a 16-year-old boy character named Elliot in a game that's filled with like hot girls and Master Chief. I would be this like little boy. I was also like probably 15, 14 years old. I would talk mad shit and I would counter every single move. I have like one of the rarest achievements, like reach SS rank in Dead or Alive 4. I picked the annoying boy character and I parried every move and I would talk shit. I was so horrible, but I was really good at Dead or Alive 4. So yeah, I don't know. So I always like wrestlers, hot girls, and then I guess weird characters too.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Hot girls wrestling weird characters.
Yeah.
Put that on your fucking t-shirt. Sell that. Jeremy, do you play many fighting games? I feel like that's not your purview.
I do not play many fighting games. In fact, I was trying to remember the name of the two fighting games that I've played the most in my life are probably the two least serious fighting games ever created. One of them is Mace: The Dark Age. Anyone?
Oh yeah.
Nope, nothing.
You play that game?
Is that the one with the chicken?
Does it have a chicken in
the
it? I haven't played it
N64.
since probably 1998. It's the guy. It has like the big red knight on the cover.
Oh, this game. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I loved this game. The fighting game I've played the most in my life, by far, is Clay Fighter 63 into third.
Dude, you're such a Nintendo 64 kid. It's so
The
funny.
face Frank made when I said that was like if someone told you their favorite, like the finest piece of cinema they'd ever seen was like,
Dude, it's the worst Clay Fighter. Sorry.
The Room. I loved Clay Fighter 63 and a third.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
No fucking. Hey, listen, don't hate on it. All right,
I'm not hating.
it's
personally.
a serious game for serious fighting game people.
All right, we were an Earthworm Jim main. Was he on the N64 version, or was that just the PlayStation? Is there a PlayStation version of that game? I think there is.
There's
No, there's
I
not.
feel like there. Okay, I will tell you this. I don't know about the PlayStation one, but I will tell you this. There was an updated version called Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut, and it was released exclusively as a Blockbuster rental, which is fucking amazing.
Perfect.
That's a crazy fucking talk about exclusivity platforms.
That's
was
an era thing
before
that
there
you
was
can't
Game
repeat.
Pass. There was Blockbuster exclusive.
How far away are we from the Game Pass exclusive version of something? I'm waiting for it. It'll happen.
I mean,
That's basically what Call of Duty is. No one.
I'm not buying that shit for $80. Are you crazy? Or $70?
Yeah. So it's basically a Game Pass exclusive game.
All right, Clay Fighter 63 and a third, and Mace: The Dark Ages. Is that what it was?
Mace the Dark Age. Yeah.
Yeah.
A classic.
Classic. We got to get you playing like. You'd like No, you wouldn't like Tekken. You would like. I don't know what you'd like.
I mean, I've played like Street Fighter and Tekken.
Okay.
I've played a little bit of a lot of fighting games, but not enough to
Nothing
get
that's
serious
like
about
stuck
them.
for you.
No, you know what? I would say third place for most played is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like tournament fighter or whatever it's called with the shark guy.
I didn't know they made one.
There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fighting game that's quite good.
Neat. There you go. Oh, I see this. Yeah. It looks like Smash Bros.
Smash Bros. It's
Am I
like
wrong?
a pixel art game.
TMNT Smash Up? No? Oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
No, it's called Tournament Fighters, I think, is it not? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters.
Oh, I
For the
see. Yes,
Super
Sharkman in the
Nintendo.
screenshot.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a goodie.
Neat. Fighting it.
You.
Next question, Frank.
Yeah, Riven wrote in. What are some of your favorite weird game covers that don't really represent the game or have things that aren't in the game? The Mega Man cover is a classic example. I always think about Time Splitters 2, which features a gun that's not in the game, and Resident Evil with the guy's weird face and weird shotgun / machine gun.
Those are good. There's the one you guys always talk about. I can't remember the name of it, but it looks like a guy just ate a fruit gusher and like his ears are smoke coming out of his ears or something. Or like he had something really spicy and like his head's a volcano.
Which game
Is that Incredible Crisis?
Is that what it is?
The logo? Yeah, I think Incredible Crisis has that.
Every time we look
yeah.
at it, we all go, "Oh, that's very funny." Yeah. But then the Japanese version of it is also really good, but obviously more accurate.
Phalanx is like the classic one that has the banjo guy on it, but it's like a shmup. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one to think of off the dome.
Yeah.
The one that popped to my
Phalanx
head is Super Busta Move has a baby on the cover and he's blowing a bubble and it's like such like it's like such Y2K like gross. It's not even gross,
that
but it's
sucks.
just it's like such like lame ass magazine marketing.
Yes.
But like that's the cover. And it's like, why the fuck, why would you want to, I don't know. I hate that cover.
You can see the text that's like, "Play this game if you're not a baby" or something like in the corner. Stupid.
It's like the worst cover, but it looks like a magazine ad, but it's a magazine ad that turned into a cover. Yeah, it's hard to think without like my games in front of me.
Totally.
Yeah.
This is sort of related to what Frank was saying, not a game box art, but an ad campaign. I think Earthbound, the
scratch
North
and
American
sniff?
ad campaign for it was some of the worst shit ever.
Yeah.
Would you
is
say,
is that the scratch and sniff? The one where you
Yeah, they had like
stinks? Yeah.
well, it was like a fart scented scratch and sniff or some shit.
right. And it just says this game stinks, right? Is that
Yeah, they were trying to do a Primus thing where they're like, this game. Yeah, it says we're warning you, this game stinks.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
So weird.
I'm glad I didn't encounter these as a kid and just played Earthbound for some reason.
Now I just want to look up weird boxes for games. Because I feel like there's got to be a whole... Oh my god, this one for Ninja Scooter Simulator, which is already a great game. Hold on, let me drop this in Snapchat. Let me drop... You guys need to see how good this is. I want this on his t-shirt. Look at this. Danny's going to see this and be like, what's going on over there? What are these guys doing?
Oh wow.
I like that one.
Isn't that sick?
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
that's
awesome.
like fucking. I like it's like 80s, like pink and I don't know, whatever, like vaporwave.
Yeah, weird lines. I wish we had better answers for this off the head top. There's just so many.
No, yeah, it's a very
hard.
like visual thing. I mean, again, and that's the that's like one of the joys of like just browsing video game shops is and especially like in Japan, like there's a store in Akihabara. I think it's called Rare Item Shop, but it's like it's so funny because it's like. It's perfectly curated where it's the kind of thing where it's like there's not that much stuff, but everything that's on display is like incredible. So it's like they just have everything out on the floor. It's like almost like a boutique, and every item there. It's like, what the hell is this? What is this game? What is this box art? I'm pulling out my phone for Google Translate and stuff. But yeah, that's the joy of That's the thing we've lost with like the all digital stuff is like being able to browse physical media, picks up something, be like, what the hell is this? Look at the back, look at the screenshots. That Blockbuster experience. Looking around for stuff, but
seeing a cool cover. Now you go on the Steam page, here's a trailer, you gotta look at those screenshots. No, I want to be sold on a bad cover that has nothing to do with the video game, and I spend my hard-earned cash on it.
And then I looked up just for clarification, so it's called Rare Item Studio. Yeah, in Akihabara. You can like look it up on Google Maps or whatever. But yeah, Rare Item Studio was a shop I went into, and it was like, oh, this is awesome. Like everything was on display. So that's that. Yeah, that. I also truly feel bad for like in television and like Atari era where you'd have a realistic painting of a game character and then the back is like 4 pixel art, like 4 blocks. Like I feel so bad for that era of people. So it's like, I feel like even as a kid, what did I get screwed the most on? Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon on Super Nintendo had sick box art, and that was like one of the worst games I ever played. And like, what a waste of like a birthday gift.
That's a problem now too, though. Like what you're saying of the covers looking inaccurate to the actual game, because like my wife will be scrolling the Nintendo Switch eShop, or she'll be looking at me scrolling through stuff on PlayStation or Xbox, and she'll be like, "Oh, that looks really cute. Click on that," because the art is this like well illustrated, bright, colorful thing. And then I click on it, and she sees the gameplay as these big chunky pixels. She's like, "I don't want that. I want it the cute art. There's a cute fox, and I'm looking at it, and it's like a hamburger that's been ground up. Like I don't want to play that."
I like the mismatch between art styles. I've always been a big fan of like because like Steam kind of has this with capsule art now, where it's like there's like the beautifully illustrated thing, and then it's like a pixel art game. I always like that. Like to me, it's the same appeal as playing the original Final Fantasy VII, and there's like 3 or 4 different levels of fidelity, where it's like the characters on the overworld and in the world, characters in battle, characters in cutscenes. They're like 3 different densities of fidelity, and they all kind of give you different. Like you integrate them all into a holistic version of what that character looks like.
Yeah, it's like you get to fill in the gaps with your imagination in the pixel art, but you also have a reference to say, oh, this is what they would look like if they were doing this, if I imagined it in my head. There's aspects to it that are good. I don't dislike it that much, but it's just always funny when my wife sees something and is like pissed because it doesn't look like the capsule art looked. Very funny reaction to have. Yeah, thanks for the question, Riven. We've got 2 more here.
Yeah, we've answered, I think, this question like maybe 2 times. I feel like we just answered a week ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's always worth talking about. As someone who struggles with depression, what game have you or someone you know used to play in those dark times? I'm living in Norway, and we're in the winter months now, and it goes dark, and we get what's called winter depression. The 2 games I fell into a genuine groove with as we've been doing our Game of the Year stuff was like Death Stranding 2 was a thing that like held my attention. It was very soothing and satisfying. A big thing with Death Stranding is like, especially number 2. 1, I feel like the environments are very similar and grim and mundane. And I feel like with Death Stranding 2, because we lived through COVID, I think they went in a way more colorful route. So Death Stranding 2 has a lot of variety in the biomes. So playing Death Stranding 2, it has a lot more color and like positive. I don't know. It's way more charming. So Death Stranding 2 has like really clicked for me. during this bout of depression or whatever. I'm not dismissive to your, but I'm talking about it's like, I don't know what the hell it is, but like, and then DK Bonanza right now is so colorful, cute, poppy. So I gravitate, like I'll say this with my friends and on stream and stuff. It's like I need something colorful because I am so like, there's varying degrees, but it's like, yeah, I'm not clear. And so DK Bonanza has been perfectly like daffy, bright, colorful, cute. And then Death Stranding 2 also was very helpful. It felt satisfying. A genuine reason why Death Stranding 2 clicked recently was like every time he delivers stuff, it's like, oh, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Like you're kind of it's like it's weird, but there is like this dopamine of like, oh, people like me. I'm helping people. This is great. Like, and when you're delivering packages, everyone's so free and everyone is so sweet and charming, like the characters, and it's like, I don't know. I think with Death Stranding 1 compared to Death Stranding 2, I think they like wanted to elevate the tone and make it more optimistic because the Death Stranding 1 became reality so quickly. So yeah, I don't know if it'll match for you with your winter depression right now, but for me it kind of clicked in I don't know, filled a gap or something in my soul. So I like that. And then DK Bonanza. So those have been the two for me this round of winter depression.
Bright and colorful, yeah.
This is a weird like inverse version of that answer. For some reason, when I get super depressed, I like media that is like matches the pace.
Yes,
like,
same, 100%.
To me, if I'm depressed and I play a happy game, I'm like, this is fake. Which
I wish I could ever be this happy outside of the game. Is how I'm thinking.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no one feels this happy. If I'm this depressed, no one could ever be that happy. Yeah. So I like to play like like Silent Hill games or like Signalis or just like weird survival horror games about how your wife is dead or maybe wrote you a letter but maybe is dead. I don't know. I like weird depressing shit.
No, I weirdly agree. Like I've always been like that. If I'm sad, I want to listen to sad music, which I don't think is that strange really. But for video games, it's like when I'm depressed, I always gravitate towards like the sad. Like I was in a real bout of depression when I was playing And Roger, which is not the game you should play when you're sad, except it worked for me. I played it and I was like, oh, this actually weirdly made me feel better. I don't know why. It's almost like, I don't want to say cathartic because that feels wrong, but it is kind of like seeing that situation has an ending, even if it's not positive. It's just that it eventually is over. For me, I find to be, I don't know, comforting in a weird way. It's not always a good ending, but that it ends works for me.
Yeah, it is cathartic too to like, I don't know, sometimes like if you're sad and you watch a sad movie and the movie makes you cry, it's like crying about something that isn't the thing that is your depression is cathartic in some way. Like just like the act of being sad or crying is like cathartic in some way. Sometimes, I mean, that's like one of my favorite things about art is that it can be a facilitator for working through or like bringing up emotions that are in you that are otherwise like painful or difficult to access or something. Yeah, you know, like
or even putting words to it, right? Like if you have an emotion, like there was a Goodnight Universe. There's a couple of moments in that game where, I mean, you're playing as a baby and the family is talking about, you know, the hardships of having a child. I wonder why that connected for me. And hearing that said aloud by somebody else, and like it wasn't exactly 1-to-1, but the way that they communicated that stuff really, really affected me. It made me feel, I don't know, not alone. Like that doesn't make me feel good to know that other people are going through the similar stresses that I'm going through, but it was nice to hear it explained, I guess, to me, how, not necessarily exactly how I'm feeling, but how someone else is feeling about a similar situation. It's I don't know, made me feel better. Are we freaks? No, right?
No, it's the happy game people that are wrong. No, just kidding. I think it's just personal taste. I think some people want to be taken out of their misery, and I think some people want to like experience misery loves company type shit.
Yeah, I want to stew in it. We have, like Frank said, have answered this question a couple times in the last couple of weeks, which is sad. I hope that everyone who is going through seasonal depression or regular depression or whatever, any sort of hardship, has people that they can lean on and talk to about what they're going through. And if you're looking for games, like I said, last couple of weeks we've answered similar questions. And maybe think about going back to something nostalgic, something that used to make you happy that, maybe you can look back on fondly and have good memories.
And talk to the homies.
Always talk to the homies. That's number one is make sure you got someone to lean on.
Talk to some people and just facilitate a connection. It doesn't have to be like, will you be my therapist, friend / parent / sibling, whatever. Just like, just connect with people. It can take you out of your own situation a little bit.
Totally. Go do something dumb with your friends. It's great. Go tobogganing. You get a lot of snow up there. I don't know. That's what we do in Canada. So you just go tobogganing. Don't break a bone. If you're over 30, maybe don't go. You're made of glass. And we have one more question here from Disco Cat, Frank.
Yeah, Disco Cat wrote in and asked, I have a thing for games that manage to get a unique atmosphere or thing going on, even if they're flawed. The original Stalker games come to mind. Do the crew members have a love for games that aren't globally seen as good or even seen as bad, but their uniqueness won you over anyway?
That's tough because I only like good games that I like. So I don't know.
Like Clay Fighter 63 to 30.
No, that game should actually.
This is a tough question. Because I
throw
feel
us
like
the tough ones this week, eh?
the games that are bad that I like, I think of as good games mostly.
That like for me, Saints Row 1 is like one of my all-time favorite games.
It's a great game.
Like and like the reason I liked it is it was a shittier GTA and it didn't take itself seriously and I loved it. And then Saints Row 4 I hated, but like 4 at a time. I don't know. Like all the games I like are games that are most not to like, but I don't know. Like I gave it MindsEye is like I'm having fun playing it. It's bad. It's a bad game, but there's a reason. It's again I love trash cinema. I love Trauma. It's like there's something so fun, but like even like one of my earliest like favorite games like PS2, I love Dynasty Wars, and I'll always defend it when people mock it. But I feel like people know like I love Dynasty Warriors 3 because I grew up playing Final Fight, which was just a 2D beat 'em up where you were stuck on static screens and it was scrolling. All of a sudden, you're in a massive open battlefield with 1,000 people and you get XP and you level up. And to me, the Elevate, it was like my dad would always make the analogy of like, it's from going from horse carriage to automobile. Dynasty Warriors 3 was like going from horse carriages of Streets of Rage and Final Fight to an automobile. So for me, Dynasty Warriors 3 is like, that's the peak of gaming. GTA 3, so I love exploring games that's why, again, I wanted to play at MindsEye. Everyone's dismissive of this. I get it, but wait, what's on the other side? I want to beat the game. I want to so I'm always interested in stuff that's like immediately met with like vitriol. Like I'm genuinely like, what's the silver lining here?
I think that's an important reflex to have too, just in general. Not even like if you're a critic, just if you're a person in the world. If you hear everyone dogging on something, you're like, well, okay, there's got to be something here, right? There's no way everyone universally hates this thing and there's not at least something funny to see, unless it's like putrid. But in that case, maybe even that's worth checking out. It's like you always, the only way to know if a game is good or bad is if you play it and you think it's good or bad. That's my typical philosophy on that. I'm going to fire up Clay Fighter 63 in a third. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I can think of. Jeremy, do you have anything that fits the mold for this?
I don't know. This one's tough for me.
It's tough.
I don't know. I only like good games, and that doesn't mean that I only like good games. It means that the games that I like, I think of as good.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't think of like a game that's like a 4 out of 10 critically that I think is great. But
there's a lot of negativity around Final Fantasy 16. I really like that game.
I know you liked it.
That's how I feel about like 13. I love 13.
I love 13
Lightning
as well.
Returns.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 12 was highly regarded by critics, but it's shit on way too often by people in general. I completed it for the first time over the holidays, and
it's pretty good.
I thought it was over the holidays when during my vacation. It is currently the holidays. Over my personal holiday when I went on vacation, I beat it, and I thought it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it turns out
maybe that
there's a reason that game sold a bajillion copies. Because
I have a soft spot for like shitty old MMOs. Like I played a lot of Anarchy Online, Dark Age of Camelot. I played a lot of MMOs when I was very, very young, and they were just like these mystical worlds pre-World of Warcraft. Like it was a Wild West. EverQuest was just like EverQuest is not a shitty game, but you know what I mean? It's like every game to me was of the caliber of EverQuest because there was like a world with other people in it. It was magic.
Yeah. It's just anything like that when you're young is suddenly, it's like magic. It's like I played bad free to play big open world MMOs because I was just excited to hang out with people online. I didn't care if it was bad. I played Ragnarok online. That game makes no sense. It's just a bunch of big numbers. All right,
I want to make a MMORPG so bad. I wish I had infinite money and time.
If that was your first published game, that would be like the joke answer to what game
should you make
MMO.
First. Yeah. No, I got a game in the works, but it's not an MMO.
If only it's less of an MMO. It's more just a
It's a minimally single player,
multiplayer
offline single player game.
Aren't you doing the? No, never mind. I don't want to spoil anything.
Don't spoil anything.
Jeremy's got a little cool. He's got a lot of cool ideas.
I do have one of the games I'm working on is co-op.
Okay, I'm not crazy. There is one.
Yeah.
The only other thing I could think of, by the way, that's like was pretty universally panned, but that I weirdly enjoyed. Forspoken. I thought
What's that again?
Was okay. It's that like third person. I think it's published by Square Enix. It's developed by one of their studios.
Oh, yeah.
Third person action adventure game where you're playing as like, I don't remember what her name is, but just like a black woman from New York who gets transported. Faye, is that what it is?
Frey.
Who gets transported she gets isekai'd basically into another world. And it's like, there's stuff about it that I like because it's got like this melodrama Final Fantasy nonsense magical world stuff going on. And like, but there's so many little things, like you get to customize the character's nails and that's how you get powers. Like stuff like that. I'm like, this is great. I really like the idea of this. And then playing it's kind of whatever. But like I enjoyed the in-between parts between the running between locations with like the really fast magical parkour. I thought it was better than people were putting on, but it wasn't great is what I'm getting at. I enjoyed it still. I wouldn't go that far.
Can I ask you a question about it?
Yeah.
On the Wikipedia, it says the writing team includes Gary Whitta and Amy Hennig, while Black Girl Gamers provided consultation on the characterization of Frey. I'm not doing a bit. I'm legitimately asking. Did it feel like there was weird tension having two sort of like established white writers write a black character with consultation from you know what I mean?
I can give no opinion on the behind the scenes interactions between these people. I will simply tell you how the game opens. And you can come to your own conclusion. How about that?
Good. I would love an example.
How about that? The opening of this game is Frey is in court. She's been charged with a crime, eventually is let off. It turns out she was committing crimes and there was money in her apartment that she had stolen or had gotten from stolen goods. And then her apartment is set on fire and then she gets isekai'd into this other world.
Interesting.
It opens with her in a court case.
Okay, I wonder if that was. I
wonder
now I'm
who
picturing
came up with that
two
part.
established white writers being like, "Listen, we got this character. We just want to make sure this is like tone sensitive." And they're like, "All right, yeah, no, what's it up?" And they're like, "All right, she's a criminal." And they're like,
But
"Wait,
I don't
hold
know.
on."
I don't want to say anything.
Hold
Like
on a
maybe that
minute.
was their idea, right? Maybe that was the Black Girl Gamers was like they were like that's a interesting way to open this character's story because the conclusion of the story goes in interesting place, capital I interesting places. I don't know, but I do think that is a very, very funny way to open that game, especially based on the question that you just asked.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
cool.
all.
Honestly, I didn't want to play it until now, and now I do.
Shawshank Redemption opens in a courtroom. It's like Andy Dufresne's like, what is it? Is it going like a Shawshank Redemption route? I would play a Shawshank.
If
game,
Morgan
like,
Freeman was quoting over the entirety of that video game, it would have been better. It would have been a lot better.
I did get the game on like a clearance sale at GameStop. I have not played it, but I did buy Forspoken. But that's the games I like. The games that are critically, I don't know, like dismissed, and then they go on sale super cheap, and then you buy them, and then you get the trophies, and then I will say the Wikipedia article for Forspoken in the gameplay section has a sentence: following each combat encounter, the player earns experience points. I'm sold. If I can get XP,
Why do they even need to say that?
It does have the Devil May Cry like it's not like I think you do get level ups, but it's like you get rewards for using different magic because you have all these different magical abilities that you can juggle around, like you can do the weapon swapping in Devil May Cry. So it's a little bit like that, but not really that good.
It's like, why wouldn't the Wikipedia say like using a controller, the player can navigate the
X button
world
to jump?
Yeah. See, I'm interested because this is a Japanese developed game. Like can you play
Luminous?
Can I play this? Yeah, can I? Yeah, Luminous Productions.
Yeah.
Based in, doesn't say exactly where. Yeah, I gotta know. Can you play? If you can play this in Japanese, I might play that over the holidays.
Probably.
I think we should do. Okay, I think this is. We've been looking for like a video game book club to do. I think it would be way more interesting to do games like this than it would be to do like the greatest games of all time.
Yeah,
it would be. We should call it the middest games of all time.
the games of all time.
Games that exist.
The games that you can buy for money. Dude, this has a 30% recommend on OpenCritic. That's wild. It's not that bad.
That's
it's fine.
Maybe this will be my answer to that question of games.
See,
that
here's the thing though. I forgot. I omitted the one thing that will drive you guys insane. Is Frey has a I forget what the actual term is, but basically like a bracelet that talks to her for a lot of the game, and he does not shut up. Like the way people were complaining about Miles in Metroid Prime 4 or Atreus in God of War Ragnarok. This thing is so much worse and aggressively British. Oh, is he voiced by Stephen Merchant or something? I can't remember. It doesn't matter, but I think that shit will drive you guys crazy. It'd be funny though if you wanted to do that. I would love to do 5 out of 10.
Phrase sentient bracelet cuff, voiced by Jonathan Cake, which has to be one of the
That's
best
a
names I've
great
ever heard in
name.
my life. Or Satoshi Mikami, meaning there is Japanese audio in this game.
Oh man, Frank.
This game does have Japanese voice acting,
there you
so
go.
I'm in.
You're in. Perfect.
Mhm.
Well, listen, watch out for that on Noclip 2, the Patreon. We're going to do a live, we're going to play the whole game.
Or another angle in the podcast, will gauge how culturally sensitive it is.
Yeah, we'll do that, Jeremy. 2.5 white guys will do that.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I think we could do it objectively. I think we could remove ourselves.
Oh, this podcast has been running for too long. 2 hours and 14 minutes. All right. Well, that's all the emails this week. Thank you so much for sending those in. Always fun to chit and chat about stuff we would never have an opportunity to talk about, like Forspoken and Clay Fighter 63 1/3 and lots of other weird stuff. So thank you so much for sending those in. And of course, thank you to all the people who fund all the work that we do at patreon.com/noclip and patreon.com/noclip2. You support all the cool stuff that we do, like indie recommendations. What is an indie game? Quick looks, lots of other stuff. We've got a new one coming out maybe this week. I don't know, about Marvel
we got some
Cosmic Invasion.
We got cool Noclip 2 stuff cooking.
Yep.
So if you wanna see us do like weirder and more ambitious stuff on Noclip 2, support that channel, share the videos we do, sign up for Noclip 2's Patreon.
Yep.
We got
a big pot and we're moving a big stick around in it. We're trying to come up with cool stuff for you. I promise.
I will say too, I mean, if I can find something, but it's like I'm already actively planning another Japan trip. So I did see there's an indie game festival in Tokyo the same week. So I have to see if I can try to get like industry and go to business day. I don't know, but potentially I can shoot another thing while I'm over there. But
go ask them what an indie game is.
Yeah,
that's
see what
a
they
good
say.
question. That's a good question.
You should just ask everyone that you meet that question.
What's
See what
an
they say.
indie game?
What is an indie game? And
They're just like what? Like no one knows.
They're gonna have a term. This is what there's gonna be a term for it. That's
Yeah.
gonna be so good. It's gonna rewrite Metroidvania to search action. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna find what that word is.
Yeah, what's the search action of indie game? That's what we need.
What's the
We need
mower
boots on
games
the
of indie
ground,
games?
Frank reporting.
do it. And he can only do it thanks to your support and also the regular money that he makes. But patreon.com/noclip, patreon.com/noclip2. Give us money or don't, whatever. I don't know. I'm glad you're here listening to the podcast for this very long 2 hour and 15-minute long podcast. Wow. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for chitting and chatting. We'll catch you next week. No idea whether Danny will be back or not, but hopefully he is doing well, because that's really all that matters, is that he's taking care of his family and not concentrating on work all the time. So I hope he's doing well. I hope you're doing well. We'll see you next week. See ya. Bye. Bye.